I don't know if I ever truly would have appreciated the band and what we have built if it wasn't for losing him. Katastro's entire story and journey is literally kind of boils down to our belief in Andy.
Hello, my fellow Martians. My name is Harry Mars, and this is the On Mars Pod, where we take a deep dive into creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and other inspiring Martians alike.
He was the one that was bringing the commercial, he knew what people liked. All the big bands around us, like Dirty Heads, Iration, all these guys were telling us, you guys are next. This is happening right now. Get ready. This is going to be insane. Music has always been there for me when I felt like I had nothing else.
Hello, my fellow Martians. Today on Mars, we are joined by a songwriter, producer, drummer from the local band Katastro. You know him, you love him. The legend, Stravs, Andrew Stravers. Thank you for being here today, brother.
Let's go, man. I'm stoked to be here, bro. This is sick.
It's a long time coming, brother.
Yes.
So we have a lot of mutual friends. And before we get started into that, I just want to shout out Stravs. This morning, we were supposed to have a podcast about 2 hours ago, and I cut my hand.
This guy, he loves coffee, dude. He loves making his own coffee. Cuts his hand on his, what is it? Go explain. The V60?
The V60, the Hario V60, the little carafe, whatever.
Yeah.
I was cleaning it. I was rinsing it out. Somehow shattered in my hand. Blood everywhere. I'm squeezing paper towel in my hand. I'm like, yo, Stravs, we might have to push that podcast back.
And I'm like, yo, do you want me to take you to urgent care right now? I was like, don't worry about the podcast. So we just went to urgent care. Your boy just got stitched up.
Yep.
And you jump back in my car and you're like, let's go do the podcast. And I'm like, are you sure?
Yep.
And he said, nothing will stop me. We're doing a podcast.
That's right. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Stravs. You're a real one.
I am blown away by your work ethic and your resilience to not give up on the pod.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't be here without you.
For the record, I did not force him to come back and do a podcast immediately after getting stitches. But
no, he specifically said, don't worry about the pod. We don't have to do the pod today. And I said, can we still do the pod today?
Yeah, you're like, can we still
please do the pod?
So we're here, man. We made it,
yes.
Dude. I'm glad your fingers are okay.
Thank you, man. I still have full movement. We'll make a good recovery. Yeah. It was a pretty fucking bad cut though. I might even put pictures of the cut pre-stitch bink here so you can see how fucking deep it was.
It was pretty nasty.
Pretty bad. But yeah, just glad to be here. Glad to be alive.
You didn't lose too much blood.
Yes,
it was
and
okay.
We still got coffee.
And I will say, now I understand why you cut your hand, You make a good cup of coffee.
Thank you, bro.
So
shout out to my sponsor, Lantern Coffee, for sending these beans.
Very good coffee.
Thank you so much. So, yes, like I said, it's been a long time coming here. We have a lot of mutual friends. The Kaleidoscope Kid, Futuristic. This is one we didn't talk about, but Esteban Obregon. That's one of my best friends. Dude. Well, it's been a long time since I talked to him, but he was one of my best friends, still one of my great friends today.
Done a lot of work with Esteban, dude.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So that's just like another person where at one point I actually told Josh that the bald head vibe. I was like, dude, it kind of reminded me of Esteban.
Yeah, we're
like,
bald.
Oh, they're friends.
Once you go bald, everyone thinks you're the same person as any other bald guy ever. So once you enter, people don't understand. A lot of these guys that are starting to lose their hair, dude, you just got to commit, bro. Because once you become part of the bald bro club, it's a crazy vibe.
The BBC.
Yeah, it's a crazy vibe, dude. Yeah, we know a lot of the same people, bro. Oswin Benjamin.
That's right. Oswin Benjamin.
Who else, man? And he just moved, right?
Yes. Yeah, he moved to Florida.
Sick.
So, but yeah, man. So I'm super stoked to talk about your story though, because you've done a lot out here in Arizona. So Katastro, obviously, you guys were banned for so long. It's one of the biggest local bands, I would say, in AZ. It's I've been in the music industry for 10 years at this point in Arizona, and it's really early on, I remember hearing that name, Katastro, even though I didn't know you guys, didn't know your music really. It was just like you guys were buzzing. So yeah, I'm excited to peel back the layers a little bit, man, and sit down.
Lots of layers. Lots of layers.
So on Mars Pod, we take a deep dive into creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and other inspiring Martians alike, like we discussed earlier. So usually the way I like to get these started is kind of talk about like the early days and you growing up, you know, you're playing drums at a really early age, and we talked about how you started this stuff in like high school. But even before that, what was around you in Arizona? Like, were you playing sports? I know you said you were skateboarding. I mean, what was your early things like around you in Arizona?
Well, yeah, music didn't quite come into the picture for me seriously until I was like 12 or 13.
Okay.
But I grew up being really obsessed with ice hockey. So I played ice hockey as a kid from the age of 7 to like 16.
Out here?
Yes. Yeah. My dad was like the crazy hockey dad. Did the whole travel hockey thing. We travel across the country to play. And
what's up?
It was the whole like, yeah, super obsessed with ice hockey. I was like the captain of my team, you know.
Oh, damn.
Little, just really loved hockey. So sports were always, you know, looking back now, like sports were, I think, a very important part of my life. Like being raised as a kid. My parents thought that was important, probably mostly my dad. But yeah, I guess that's what I did a lot in my childhood was a lot of hockey. But then my earliest memory of drums or music was probably when I was around the age of like 4 or 5. My family took us on a vacation to go visit some family in New York because both of my parents are from New York, from Long Island. Beautiful. And my mom's brother, my uncle Chris, was a drummer, and he actually did it for a short time. He was doing it professionally, like he was touring in a band, and one of his bands got signed and toured Europe, and like, you know, they're a band called Controlled Bleeding. But I remember being 4 or 5 years old and going and playing drums in his room on some like drum pads that he had, and he had a drum kit there. And yeah, I remember being into it. My mom tells the story that like after that trip, I would sometimes pull like pots and pans out of the kitchen and like bang on stuff. It was kind of like classic, like cheesy drummer story thing.
Classic.
I feel like she's kind of told me that before. But fast forward, like I think I was like 8 and I told my mom I wanted to play drums, and she was like, all right, you got to take drum lessons. And she's like, I'm not going to buy you a drum set unless you take lessons for a little while. And I took I think I took a few lessons, and I was like, I was 8. I didn't want to learn all the fundamentals. So that kind of fizzled out. And then by the time I think when I was 12 or 13 was when I got my first drum kit. But I told my mom again, I want to play drums because I went to a show with this band called District 28. They were like a pop punk band that went to my high school. They went to the high school next to my middle school. And I remember seeing them play a show at like it was like a Laser Quest place. Like, do you remember Laser Quest?
No, I'd never.
It was like a laser. What's it
like
called?
laser tag?
Like laser tag.
Oh,
it was like a laser tag place, but this band, like they were like obviously like trying to be Blink-182. Like they were dressed the same, playing the same like pop punk music or whatever. And me and my friends saw this band, and I remember watching the drummer and being like, "That's so dope! Like I want to play drums again. I want to try and play drums again." So, my mom told me if you take drum lessons for a year, like seriously take lessons every week for a year, we'll get you a drum kit. And so I committed to that, which looking back now, like I owe my mom so much for forcing me to take lessons. So I'm 13. So all the way from 13 to 14, I take lessons. And then my parents finally got me a drum kit. And I just progressed really fast at it. I was like super obsessed with it. I think I probably treated it the same way as I did like a sport, like learning hockey or something. And by the time I was like 14, I was starting my own bands in high school. I started my first band, which was called The Evade, which was kind of like harder, kind of screamo metal stuff. And yeah, man, just kind of started bands in high school. And that was, not to my knowledge, that was the beginning of kind of like, you know, building your own business.
For sure.
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I mean,
But when you're a kid, you don't think of it like that.
For
You know, you're just
absolutely
like, I'm
not.
playing music.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the fact that your mom like forced you to take lessons, I think that's really important, because that's like she didn't want to just like give into something that was gonna be like a like here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah,
She's like,
she
hey,
didn't want it. She wanted
Yeah.
to be like, yo, she
If you're
knew it
gonna
was
do it,
important though,
yeah.
which was really cool. Like she actually pushed me to take lessons. And then what was cool is I found a drum teacher. His name was Bobby Dommings. Shout out Bobby Dommings. He's still giving lessons too. So if you're trying to learn drums, Bobby is where I learned my chops, dude. So you know, in high school, from the age of 14 to 18, you know, all those 4 years of high school, my dad built a extra garage like in the backyard of our house, and inside of that garage there was a storage room. And that summer when I got my first drum kit, he told me, hey, like help me remodel and I'll get you that snare drum you wanted. So I thought that like if I was going to help him remodel this like room that was the storage room that was in the garage, that he was just going to get me a new snare drum that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so I helped him with that summer. And at the end of it, my parents bought me like a new like nice drum kit.
Yeah.
And he like took me into the storage room one day and he's like, you see that? And he like pointed up at the wall, and there was an AC unit in the wall. And I was like, yeah, what's that for? He's like, this is your band room. And I was just like,
yo,
that dude, that kind of like makes me want to cry because my dad's not here anymore.
Oh man.
So like, no, it's just crazy.
That's
it's like,
that's a beautiful moment,
bro.
dude.
It was like the most beautiful moment as a
dude.
kid, because, you know, it was like this sign off that like my dad believed in me. He's like, I know you're starting bands now and like you guys need a place to jam. So that was where every band that I started in high school, we would practice at my house, which is also very convenient to practice at the drummer's house because I don't have to lug my stuff anywhere. So yeah, dude, that was like the start of being able to, from 14 to 18, I was able to play my drums every day. I'd get home from school and I would just play drums for like 5 or 6 hours. Wow. And so I was just playing drums nonstop, and I just got obsessed with it. And, you know, a couple years later when we were 17, that's when Katastro started in my garage.
Damn, dude.
So we started the band in my garage when we were 17. It was our summer before our senior year of high school. Andy wanted to start a band, and I knew Andy from being in high school with him. And I thought he was kidding at first when he hit me up. And so I was like, yeah, come over, cruise over. And so him and a couple other dudes cruised over, and that's when Katastro started, like just in my garage one day.
Damn, because he was like rapping and stuff and doing his own
thing. So
right?
Similar to me, like when Andy was 14, me and him were in different projects or whatever. He had his own solo rap career, and he was like already like selling CDs at school. He was opening for like KRS-One, and like he was getting like decent shows.
Damn.
And he was actually good
as a teenager.
Like as a teenager, like his cadence was good. He knew how to rap. He was obsessed with Eminem.
Hell yeah.
And so we kind of had like similar things we were obsessed with, I guess. So when we started the band, it was just this new, very, very fun thing that we all just like clicked and we all vibed. So.
Man, so then how did that, I guess the process of like starting to write songs versus like, because I'm sure when you guys were starting to play songs, it maybe wasn't writing right off the bat.
It was.
Covers? Oh, it was writing right off the bat. It was,
dude, which is crazy because I know like a lot of younger kids now, like when they start a band or whatever, they're just playing covers. But
yeah,
like,
that's what you would assume.
And that's the thing too, is like, I think even looking back on it now, like I do think we were kind of advanced for how young we were. Like all of us had done our own playing starting at like 12 or 13. So by the time we were like 17, we all knew how to play. Like by the time I was 17, I legit was like really good. I was good at drums. Yeah. Like I was already playing in like this mathy rock band thing. And like, I was just, 14 and 15, I was obsessed with Travis Barker, learning all the Blink songs, which those songs are hard to play.
Very hard.
And I got good at those songs. So like by the time Katastro started when I was 17, like I knew how to play the drums.
Yeah.
And so everyone else in the band knew how to play their instruments too. So when we started, it was just like the first day we ever hung out as a band, we wrote the song called Sunrise, which is on like our first album. Wow. Which is still my mom's favorite song, bro.
That's beautiful.
We couldn't beat the first song for her. But we just all instantly just wanted to create together, and we just started making songs, and then that led to getting like everything happened really fast. Like we got our first manager immediately and played our first shows, and we're like getting decent shows right out of the gate.
So this is summer before senior year still? Or?
Summer year, yeah, summer before senior year of high school.
Wow.
You know the band The Maine?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
they're big out here. They're from here, right?
Yeah.
That's what I
So
thought.
they're good friends of ours, but their drummer, Pat, it was actually his idea for Katastro to start. He put the idea in Andy's head that Andy should get a band and that he needs like a drummer and like, you know, a band behind him, because at that time gym class heroes were popping off and like, you know, just like the whole rap, like with a band thing was cool.
Right.
And so, anyways, yeah, Pat knew people. And I think our first show, I believe it was the first show we ever played, was opening for the Maine at a church on the rural in the 60.
That's crazy.
And it was like a random, just like church show where like the Maine, so anyways,
Dang.
there was just a lot of like different, like, even when I look back now, when we were seniors in high school, so many bands were coming out of our school at that time that still exist now. 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a different era.
So
in
we
music.
grew up with like the Maine, Ann Arbor,
for sure.
Katastro,
Yep.
like The Word Alive, I Set to Kill. Like a lot of these bands still exist and are still touring and still active.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of a crazy, like a bunch of kids are making music and somehow it's leaving Arizona and they're starting to tour.
Yeah, for sure, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure like all those names that you just named, like people that are listening to this, like, oh my God, I remember that. You know, like,
Yeah.
it's like some of their early like childhood music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I feel like kids like nowadays might not even know who those people are if they didn't, you know, listen to
sure.
music at that time. And it's funny because like in like I'm 30 years old now, but I find that like now that I'm 30, I'm starting to realize that there is quite a big generational gap to like people that are 20 years old. It's
Oh yeah, I'm so old. I'm so old now.
It's like,
Yeah.
like all this stuff, I'm like, oh my God, that's so exciting. It's like some people, it's like, who's the main? You know, it's like,
yeah. And
but,
they're like, you know, they're bigger than they've ever been right now.
yeah,
They're murdering.
Fuck yeah,
It's
dude.
awesome.
yeah, it's awesome that you've been friends with them from the beginning too. So like when you guys were just getting started, that was kind of like a weird, like, I don't know, blueprint in a sense to see like, oh, these guys did it like this. Like
They were
we can
always
fucking do it.
a huge inspiration and blueprint for us as a band, because Pat, the drummer of the Maine, he really helped me over the years kind of get a more like zoomed out perspective of what it is to be in a band and drive things forward. And because there's so many other sides of being a creative person and being a guy in a band or whatever you're trying to pursue. There's a whole business side of it. There's a whole like, mentality side of it, the way you need to interface with it. And those guys always helped us a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was more than just the music. Yeah. Today's episode is sponsored by Lantern Coffee, based out of my hometown, Grand Rapids, Michigan. If you're still sipping on that gas station coffee, this is your sign to get your life together. Lantern does coffee the right way. Whole beans, small batch, straight from the source. I personally get 2 bags a month myself. It's what fuels us here every day on Mars. If you want to taste what I'm talking about, go to lanterncoffee.com, use promo code ONMARS for 20% off of your first order. That's lanterncoffee.com, use promo code ONMARS, 20% off your first order. Treat yourself, because friends don't let friends drink bad coffee. Let's get back to the show. So I want to talk about something you mentioned, that gym class heroes, how like the rapping with the band and all that stuff, and that's like considered like genre blending. And I feel like that's something that Katastro has always done very well, is genre blending. And it's something that from the beginning it was intentional. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that at the time, and even up to probably like 2015 and 2016, like that era was almost like it was risky to to genre blend because it would be hard to categorize you.
Yep.
So it was like the blogs wouldn't pick you up if you were too rappy or if you were too rocky. So you kind of had to like find your niche.
We had so many struggles over the years in the early years of the band of finding where our niche was.
Right.
But we never, to be honest, we never strategically sat down and were like, yo, let's blend genres. We just all genuinely were interested in different kinds of music. Like when we started the band, Andy only was listening to Eminem. Like he thought he was gonna be Eminem. Like it was like he was obsessed with Eminem. And I burned him Red Hot Chili Peppers Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I burned that album for him, and it like changed his life. And he just like this whole portal got opened up to him that was like, oh, I could sing and I could rap and I could like have a rock band. So introducing the Red Hot Chili Peppers to Andy and him kind of experiencing Kiedis and like that kind of personality and frontman, Andy embodied all that. Like Andy was already a showman, like in high school, like getting kicked out of class every day, like entertaining the entire class. Like he was just meant to be a star. So, it was like this new, really exciting chapter for him, I think, to have this band that was backing him that all clearly believed in him. Like the basis of Katastro's entire story and journey is literally kind of boils down to our belief in Andy. Like that's why the band lasted for so long. And like, in my opinion, this is my opinion, you know, I'm not speaking for the band, but like, I just think, you know, if no one believes in what the singer's saying or what the singer's doing, the band goes nowhere. That's just, I really believe that's just how it is. Yeah, especially now that I produce and like it's so much goes into like, all right, do I believe in their conviction? Like when they're singing or when they're rapping or whatever it is. It's like, if you don't have that, you know, every artist you like, it's you believe in what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
yeah, but that like that energy, like that frontman energy is so necessary though. And like to kind of talk about like your belief in Andy, you saw that super early on. And I feel like that
dude, I saw it the moment I met him.
Yeah.
Literally, I remember the moment I met him and me and all my friends kind of hated him, but we met him at like a soccer game when we were 12. He just walked up to us, didn't know us, started rapping in our faces.
Love it.
And he was like wearing like an Abercrombie shirt and had like bleached tips. And me and all my skateboarder friends were like, yo, we hate this kid. And then fast forward, I started a band with him and have this entire life with him, and he changed my life. Yeah, like absolutely changed my life. So
yeah, man.
Yeah.
So we were talking about like the genre blending part, and I think that's kind of like because it was even though you guys didn't do it intentionally, then you guys were doing it just with like, this is what we like to hear. This is what we want to hear. We literally
were just making, dude. The whole entirety of Katastro really was just like, hey, let's make stuff we want to hear.
Right. Exactly what we like.
You know, it's like, let's just make stuff that is making us feel cool when we make it or feel good.
It's so important.
So, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and I think that's like part of like the reason why people resonated with it so
there
genuinely.
were certain influences.
Yeah,
there were definitely certain like pillar influences when we started the band. It was like we were obsessed with Chili Peppers.
Yep. You can hear that in your sound.
Yeah, we were obsessed with Chili Peppers, Incubus, Atmosphere, Hieroglyphics. So we had like these West Coast hip hop underground like influences, and then rock music, you know what I mean? From like Chili Peppers and Incubus, that kind of vibe. So like, you know, we were kind of blending, like elements of rock with pop. Andy brought in the like sensibility of pop music.
Yeah.
He would always be listening to like what's the most popular right now. And I think over the years, it's funny because like back in the day, we'd make fun of him for that. Be like, turn this off, it's garbage. But like he was the one that was bringing the commercial, like he knew what people liked. He was the guy in the band that knew what people in like the clubs were listening to or whatever. You know what I mean?
He was tapped in.
And I think, he was tapped in, dude. He was tapped in. Because if it was up to me and Tanner and Ryan, we'd probably be making some crazy nerdy like rock stuff in the basement or I don't know. But yeah.
So when you were like making that, like, I guess that breakthrough of like starting to, I don't know, show people your music, and it was kind of like hard to categorize, like, were you guys getting pushback from like blogs and I don't know, like, were people like not wanting to promote you guys because they didn't know how to, like, what were those conversations like, especially because you guys kind of got like,
I think what
buzz a little bit.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, the most confusing part for Katastro is that we immediately started getting shows in like the reggae rock world. So like the second show we ever played was at the Clubhouse in Tempe, opening for the Dirty Heads. And this was before the Dirty Heads were really popping or doing much. But we had opened for the Dirty Heads. That led to getting some more opening slots for like opening for 311 or, Method Man and Redman. But it's like, we were getting these big opening slots in town, right? Like opening at the Marquee or whatever. And then, that led to us getting like our first national tour when we were 20. So it was like right out of high school. We got our first national tour, which went all the way to Minneapolis and back, opening for this band called Tomorrow's Bad Seeds, which were a band based out of Orange County.
Okay.
And we weren't quite a reggae band because we weren't just doing like the skanks and like we weren't a reggae band. We were more of, like I said, like the Chili Pepper kind of vibe, like a rock band with a lead singer that rapped. And so we didn't quite fit in with the reggae fans, but they liked us. They embraced us. Like they didn't say no. They were like down. The crowds were still responding.
Yeah.
And then we weren't like, we're a bunch of white kids from Arizona that are 20. Like we can't go on a hip hop tour. You know what I mean? Like we're not getting like hip hop shows. So really the reggae scene immediately was the scene that like embraced us.
That makes sense.
So in the beginning stages though, I remember us being frustrated because I think we had this idea that we'd be like this alt rock band that would like push through and do like, I don't know,
stuff,
tours. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, over the years, the reggae crowds kept embracing us. We got our first huge amphitheater tour in 2014, opening for the Dirty Heads and Pepper. That was kind of what changed our lives as far as like touring is concerned, like being, having an experience like that and knowing like how big, like we had never imagined we'd be on that big of a tour.
Yeah.
Like our first time, you're from Michigan, right?
Yeah.
First time we ever play in Michigan, we're playing at the Fillmore and it's sold out when we walk on stage and everyone has their hands up. They don't even know who we are. They're just like, yes. And we're like, why do we hate reggae? Like, why are we talking, smack on the reggae scene? Like, look how beautiful this is. Look how amazing these fans are and how much they embrace us. So that was a very eye-opening experience for us. So we kind of, after that, we kind of just went with it. And we're like, all right, cool. Let's tour with all these bands, and got opening slots for Iration and, all these different artists that are big in our scene. So
to find that, like that almost pocket where you could be accepted, because that's the hardest thing. And that's why I wanted to bring it up of like genre blending, because I remember that being like a weird thing. And now it's so common to like genre blend and like artists that are in like,
well, that's what Chili
genre.
Peppers did, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Like
dude.
that's what they were doing.
Yes.
But here's the thing. I don't think they like Katastro when we started. I don't think they ever sat down and like, yo, let's genre blend.
No, and
it's
not
just
at all.
like
Yes.
It's just like they were really into Funkadelic, and then they were also into the Meters, and they were also into like whatever. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you can hear that bleed through in their sound, and it's the same thing for you
sure.
guys.
Like if you
all your
listen to our
influences.
music, you can hear Andy's influence of Kiedis.
Yes,
You can hear our influence of pop stuff. You can hear our influence a little bit in some reggae stuff.
yeah,
It's just doing it in a new way. Like any music that people like, they're not ripping someone off. Like right now, the McGee thing in Dijon is like huge, right?
Yes.
Like in the production world, like if you like Google like stuff on YouTube, like everyone's trying to get that sound.
Yeah.
But it's like he already did it.
Yeah.
So people that are copying McGee right now, like it's not really gonna work.
Yeah,
It's like
sure.
the reason it's sick is because like he did something new that was weird and everyone resonated with. So I think that's the hardest thing as an artist, is to like not get caught in those traps of like just trying to follow the new thing that's hot.
That's a great way to put it.
And it's hard because it's like when something's dope, you get inspired by it and then you kind of want to make something like it.
Yeah.
And we've done it. I'm not saying we've never kind of, strategically tried to make a certain thing, but
yeah, but it's like to that point, it's like kind of doing your own thing inspired by other people's stuff.
yes,
Versus just
allowing it to like
copy-pasting.
inspire you
Yeah.
versus copy and pasting it, thinking that it's gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we were talking about this earlier at Urgent Care, hilariously.
Yeah.
We were talking about how like this podcast, how like I took a lot of inspiration from like Diary of a CEO and other, almost like, what would you call those, like expert style podcasts where like they sit down with experts and stuff, and it's a little bit more serious and dramatic and shit, which I like that, but I wanted it to be like that dialed back slightly, you know what I mean?
And I struggle with this sometimes too as a producer, now that I'm spending so much of my time producing, is like, I would love to know or like tell people like, yeah, this one's going to be a hit or that one or whatever. But like so many times throughout Katastro's career, we were told something about a song and then that song would be like the least streamed one on the album. Or, our biggest song is called Flow. It's got like 7 million plays or something on Spotify. It's a huge song on Spotify. Dude, we made that song, all of us just like sitting down on the ground in like this crappy like warehouse room that we were practicing in. And there was no big pop producer in the room. There was no other writers. It was just like, we were just chilling and we just made this like vibey song, and no label person or whatever manager would have been like, yo, that's the song that's going to blow up. That was like one of the like sleepers, So,
wow, that's beautiful.
I don't know. I think it's hard. Like I just feel like a lot of people want to pretend they know, but we don't know. I don't think anyone really knows what song's going to pop off or what album or what thing. I think you just have to keep making stuff.
Yeah.
Like you just have to
so
keep
true.
creating stuff.
Yeah, man. Make stuff that you like. And I think that's like a good theme of like everything that you've ever done is something that you like to do.
Cause too, like, and we've experienced this as a band. I remember making songs in the studio where it was maybe a little outside of Andy's key range and it comes time to go on a tour and we're choosing the set list and all of us want to play this song. And he's like, dude, I hate singing this song. It's just hard for me to sing. And he just doesn't like it. Like he doesn't want to sing it. And so it's like, if one of those songs blows up and you don't like that song and then you have to live behind it and get behind it every day, that's going to be a difficult thing to deal with. Yeah. So I think, trying to remain true to yourself when you are making art is important for that reason too. It's like if everyone happens to resonate with this thing, it better be something that does represent you, because if not, that'll be a stressful situation to be in.
For sure. Yeah. It's like John Mayer, I guess he loved this song at the time, but like John Mayer talks about like one of his songs, I think it's like Waiting on the World to Change or some shit like that. It's like, that's like his biggest song ever, but he fucking hates playing that shit.
And that's a common thing. Like a lot of the big bands that Katastro's touring with over the years, it's funny, like some of the songs that are like the biggest crowd pleasers, he'll walk off stage and be like, I hate that song.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, I got to play that song again tonight. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, man. Hey, Martians, real quick. I appreciate you taking the time to listen or watch wherever you are in the world. Over the last few months, the Martian family has grown so much. I could not be more thankful for all of my guests and every single one of you who continue to tune in every single week. Subscribers, ratings, likes, and comments all help us grow here on Mars. And it would mean the world. If you haven't already, please go to onmarspod.com/subscribe to subscribe on YouTube. Like and leave a comment, rate us on Spotify. All this good stuff helps keep the engine running to inspire Martians all over the world. P.S. Follow us on Instagram @onmarspod. Okay, let's get back to it. So I want to talk about Red Rocks. I want to talk about that show, April 30, 2022. That was a very big moment for Katastro, and I feel like going into it, you guys obviously knew how great of a stage that was, how big of an opportunity that was. You guys had a tour, and everything was about to happen. But I just want to talk about going into that show. What was that feeling like going into that Red Rock show on April 30?
Yeah, so April 30th was, that's also the last show that we ever played with Andy before the car accident. That was our third time performing at Red Rocks. So we already knew what to expect as far as like, we know what this is. We've done this before. We know we can crush it. So we went into the show with a lot of confidence. In the beginning of our set, we had a bunch of sound issues that were like really frustrating. But we worked through it and like we got through it. At the beginning of the set, I was like yelling across the stage because I couldn't hear anything and I was getting crazy feedback. I was like kind of visibly upset in the beginning of the show. We after a few songs, it all got worked out and it was fine and we crushed the show. I mean, it was an awesome show. It was sold out like when we walked on stage. So the full amphitheater, like 10,000 people, which is an insane feeling when you're playing at Red Rocks. When you're on that stage, it feels like you're performing in front of a sea of people. That's just like a huge wall of human beings because it goes up,
Yeah.
And so we crushed the show. Afterwards, so we were scheduled to go on a like 35 show summer tour with Atmosphere and Iration about 2 weeks after that show. Or a couple weeks after that show.
Right.
And after the show, me and Andy specifically had like a serious heart to heart backstage. And, I was just telling him how much I loved him. And something had happened where he didn't show up for practice before the show. And he was just kind of going through some stuff. And I was always, mine and Andy's relationship was always like, I would be pretty hard on him sometimes because I loved him, but he knew that. So like when we weren't, when he knew I was a little upset about something, it would really bother him. And we just had like a really great moment backstage where we both had this like mutual agreement together where we were looking around and we're like, dude, we're doing this. Like we're exploding as a band right now. Like all the big bands around us, like Dirty Heads, Iration, all these guys were telling us like, you guys are next. Like this is happening right now. Like get ready. This is going to be insane.
Yeah.
And so, we leave that show and that's kind of, I don't know where you want to go from there, but
dude, I mean, I really,
that show was definitely insane because it was, we had all this stuff lined up after it too. So that show was kind of like this, like approval of like, yo, you guys are doing big stuff now.
And that's why I wanted to bring that show up because like you said, it was like a month and a half tour that you guys were scheduled for that like, I think it was like,
not only that, but right after the Red Rock show, we were flying out to, which we did with Andy. We flew out to LA to work on writing new music, and the guys in Dirty Heads were just helping us co-write.
Oh, really?
And we were hopping around to some different studios out there. So we lived in an Airbnb for that last week of Andy's life.
Wow.
So Andy, I remember being backstage at Red Rocks and Andy looking at me and be like, dude, like this is wild. Like we're going to go write with Jared and Duddy from Dirty Heads next week. And then we're going on a fat tour of the Atmosphere. He's like, we're at Red Rocks right now playing with Wu-Tang and Sublime. Like this is crazy. And it was like this moment where we finally like kind of like looked around for a minute and we're like, yo, we're living our dream.
Yeah.
Like we would talk about this in high school, dude. We would talk about this in my garage, and now we're like, we're doing it, and most bands, and not even to sound cocky or anything, it's like most bands and artists will never make it to that level.
Yeah.
That's like, that's crazy to even get there. So yeah.
Yeah, man. And it's such a beautiful moment that you guys shared. Especially like the fact that you were going straight from that show to writing in LA. This is like doing things that people would only dream of.
Yeah.
And having those conversations, it's almost like confirmation, like, yo, we fucking did it. We're on our way.
It is. It's once in a while as an artist, it's like confirmation in these moments where you're like, all right, I'm not delusional. There are a lot of people that believe in what we're doing. I have always believed in what we're doing. And it's like, yeah, you sometimes I think need those stamps every once in a while to continue moving forward, because it gets harder as you get older. You have to be making money. You have to, like becoming successful as an artist when you get older. It's really difficult because it also depends on how you define success, right? Like now, the older I'm getting, I'm at a stage of my life where being successful in a career path also means being able to like provide for other people and not just be selfish. And like, I want to be a dad someday. I want to have a family someday. And so there's these different types of definitions of success, but I don't know, man. Yeah.
Yeah. To be in that moment though, that's like what every artist, like I said, dreams of, to like almost be living in it and understand that like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be right now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
for sure. And just having those moments, like, because being an artist, you are filled with, there's so much time filled with doubt, with like, can we do this? Are we going to make it? Can I actually make this a career? So when those big moments happen, it's like, yeah, it's like, man. Okay, maybe this is a sign.
Yeah, man. And it was May 12th, 2022 is when Andy passed away. And it's about 3 years ago. And I never knew Andy, but everything I ever hear about him, I love that all I hear was that he was such a great dude, such a funny guy. And I only hear great stories about him. And I love that, because people like that is what music needs, is what art needs. And people like that is the reason why music is what it is. And it's I could feel it without even knowing him, hearing conversations, hearing you and Ryan talk about him on the podcast, and just I just love that so much, man. And I just want to talk about having a someone like that in your life to almost like forever be like, I'm doing this for you, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so important because it's been 3 years now, and I feel like his passing only inspired you guys to just keep fucking going and do it at a higher and higher level. And I just, it's so sad that a person like that has so much ahead of them and changed the world is, robbed of the opportunities of being able to continue on. So the fact that you guys were able to heal from that and keep the band going, well, not keep the band going, but keep his spirit alive, keep his recordings, take that time to heal and
make a final album.
With his recordings. That's such a beautiful thing. And I can't even imagine what it's like, but you guys did it so gracefully and beautifully. And I commend you guys for, doing that and keeping, a level head the whole time. And I don't even know how to talk about it because it's like, I'm getting sad just talking about it.
It's okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
But he seemed like such a fucking great dude, man.
Yeah. It's wild, bro. It's wild how much it changed our lives. And it also changed the way I interface with music and my relationships now in my life, or myself, and like who I want to become. And it's crazy, bro. It really is. Like, we spent so much time together. Like, we lived in a van together for years and years and years. And like, when he passed away though, it's, going back to that last conversation I kind of had with him at Red Rocks, it was like, well, that wasn't the last conversation I had with him, but the last like real heart to heart that we had together. You rarely kind of look around and realize like what you're doing and like appreciate it for that moment. And then when he was gone, we were forced to look at what the band had created finally. And instead of looking at the next step, we were forced to slow down and like see all these people that love and care about us and wanted to be there for us through losing our brother. And, it's kind of sad to even say this, but the truth is like, I don't know if I ever truly would have appreciated the band and what we have built if it wasn't for losing him. I think it shined this insane light on how beautiful the community is that we built. And it proved it proved to me what music like truly is about. And it's just like, all it is about is like community and everyone believing in the same thing. And maybe like the idea that we're all like not actually separate from each other and we're all like trying to feel the same thing. And so, yeah, man, I don't know. There's a lot I want to say, but yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever lost anyone close to you?
I mean, not like that. I don't think. My family, I feel like is different, but like that's like a brother, dude.
Yeah.
Like I feel like even in just doing research for this, I learned so much about you guys, and like I feel like I've like kind of knew him.
Everyone says that to me. Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
I've recorded a lot of artists that have like said that to me in the studio where they'll get emotional and those feel like they knew him.
Yeah. And I feel like that's when you said that, like you wouldn't have appreciated what you guys have done unless he would have passed. I feel like that's such a,
it's a spiritual,
crazy
it's an insane, Andy's death for me triggered like an insane kind of beginning of like a spiritual transformation for me personally. And like, I was experiencing a lot of things spiritually after Andy died. And it was kind of crazy to be in this position where like there's so many people in intense pain, including myself. We were all in intense pain, going through extreme waves of grief. Like it was such an unimaginable loss, man. I mean, we had so much stuff lined up. And so for him to just die like that was not only, you know, your best friend dying, but like your partner in your career, a business, you know, your business partner, a son, a best friend to a lot of other people too. Yeah. And so all of us just had each other, you know, and it was super destabilizing. But throughout that, and like, I have never experienced that much love in my life. I remember the 2 nights after Andy passed, I think it was a night or 2 after Andy passed, this Katastro fan started a candlelit vigil in the parking lot at the Marquee Theater, because that's the, you know, the venue that we grew up performing at and building our fan base at. And all of a sudden, 10 more fans show up, 20 more fans show up, 30 more fans show up. Next thing you know, there's a couple hundred fans down there, and we get a notification. So, someone reached out to Andy's family. It was like, hey, do you guys want to go? And so Andy's mom and dad asked us if we wanted to go down there. And so we all show up. It's like 5 p.m. and there's hundreds of fans. Like, bro, it was wild. Like, I still, like, when I think about that situation, it was like, it's like, bro, when that happened and like everyone was there crying and just hugging each other, it was like the moment where I think bro, it was so beautiful. It was like the most psychedelic feeling I've ever felt in my life. It was just like pulsating love, like everyone there, just like everyone's guard dropped. You know, like when you're at a party and someone's got the ego wall in front of them and you know it's not their real self, and it's just like all of that was just like obliterated, and everyone was just like, yo, everyone, it just felt like, to me in that moment, everyone there was like, yo, love is all that matters. And everyone was just hugging each other and was there for each other. And I think that was the beginning of my realization that like God is absolutely real, and that I think it made me like genuinely just believe in good again. Yeah. And it was like honestly the most beautiful thing I had ever witnessed. And I don't know, man, and that sounds like such an insane thing to say, that like the most beautiful thing you've experienced was like right after your best friend died. And like, I don't know how to explain that, man, but it was like almost like all this love and beauty was flowing in right after he had passed away, that like, if you're open to seeing that and open to experiencing that, it is so beautiful, bro. Yeah. And so I don't know if that's too deep, but no, that's, you know, because I don't want to like trip people out, but
no, man, I mean, you have to experience the darkness before you see the light. And I think
there isn't light without it.
Without the darkness,
there's not. And so it's like, evil has to exist for good to exist and like be able to prevail over that. And so, yeah, bro, that was so heavy and so beautiful. So, you know, after that, we spent the last couple years finishing Katastro's final album.
Right.
So that week, that night that Andy died was just a couple hours after we left the studio.
Wow.
So, and for anyone listening that doesn't know the story, like he passed away in the middle of the night in a car accident. He was in the back seat. He wasn't driving. But so we woke up in the morning to drive back to Phoenix, and he didn't answer his phone. So we just started heading back to Phoenix. And then we got the call and basically pulled over on the side of the road. And I had to tell the guys in my band in the middle of nowhere in a gas station that our brother just died. And so all of us were shell shocked, and we went and got a hotel across the street. And the next morning we made a statement, and it was like a nuclear bomb went off in our lives, man. So we spend the next 2.5 years finishing what became Until the End of Time, which is Katastro's final full-length album. Andy's on every single song, because I had a bunch of demos that I was sitting on that me and Andy had made together, and then the band was also writing that entire week that we were out in LA. Yeah. And so we literally reverse engineered an album to his voice. There was a bunch of songs where we just like had vocal stems, and we would just like mute all the music and just start over. Wow. And so that was for me, spiritually, that was an insane process to go through, because for all of us, you're sitting in a room all day, you're listening to your best friend who just died, you're listening to his voice on loop to write to it. It's like we're breaking down in the studio, you know, we're just like,
that's tough.
It was brutal, dude. But looking back on it now, it was like we were left with all of those pieces. We were left with everything that we needed, just the right amount of stuff that we needed to finish an album. And arguably, you know, we circle back to the idea of success, right? How I brought that up earlier. It's like when you're getting older as an artist, it's like there are these different pressures of being successful. It's like you got to be able to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And if you have a family, if you have other people that you're providing for, you better be able to take care of them too. So it's not just about you anymore being selfish or whatever. So, but you know, our idea, looking back on the Katastro album now, it's like it didn't blow up by any means or whatever like that, but it was such an insane success for us, like for our hearts to heal through losing Andy. Like that was the only goal. That's the only thing that really actually matters on paper. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and you know, that, that helped us work through his death, which then showed me over the last couple of years. Cause you know, I started producing a lot more for other artists outside of, you know, the stuff I do in Katastro with my band, like probably like 5, 6, 7 years ago or whatever. Working on the Katastro album has showed me the undeniable, I guess, power of music and like how it can help heal people. Yeah. Not only the artist that maybe is working on the song, but just like people that are listening to the music and how it affects them. I mean, dude, the messages that I got, it took me, I'm not kidding, it took me like 3 months to get through my DMs after Andy died. I had hundreds and hundreds of messages and heavy messages, dude. Like just people pouring their hearts out, explaining like what our music helped them get through. Like I was going to kill myself and this album helped me, or like, hey, my friend died of an overdose and this album, just like crazy stories, man, where it's like, you know, when you're an artist and you're just making records with your friends, you don't think about what kind of impact you have or what kind of influence you have. You know what I mean? So I'm happy that we were able to finish a final album, you know, and do right by Andy by getting that done and getting it put out, and for the fans too. Cause you know, a lot of these fans that live across the country didn't get to come to his funeral. They didn't really have closure. So, having this body of work to put out that, you know, kind of puts a stamp on like what Katastro has been all about. You know, we really care about our fans. We really love the music that we make. And, it's bigger than just like a band. It's more like a community vibe. So.
Absolutely, man. And you guys did that like with your time that you needed for Andy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You didn't rush it. You took your time. You took two years and some change that you really dialed it in. And that was
because throughout that time, dude, it's so like when you make an album as a band, right? You're really excited throughout that whole time because you know, hey, we're going to go on this tour after. Hey, we're going to put the album out. We're going to do the circuit. You know, the cycle of being in a band and being in a rock band is you make an album every year and then you tour, and then you make an album and you tour. You make an album, you tour. So now it's like our singer's dead. Can't tour. And it's like, what happens in the future? Is the band over? And so like, we don't know. We're just like, all we know is we got to finish this album because if we don't, we're going to lose our minds. Yeah. So now that it's been a few years, you know, we just hit the 3-year mark of losing Andy. We've had time to like have a break, and that for me has been very, very good. Very good for me to have a break. This is the first, I mean, going into 2025 is the first year of my life since the band started where it has not been go, go, go Katastro. And up until this year, I don't think I realized how much of a kind of toll it put on me. Right. At certain
but
points.
You didn't see it like that.
Yeah, no, I never saw it like that. Right. I'm just saying like to finally breathe for a moment and think about my own life or, you know, what I want to do in the future. It's been good.
Yeah, man. Sometimes those hard things happen and forces you to slow down. And I think that's
the biggest thing
big moment.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that happened when Andy passed away. It was like, it forced us all to slow down.
Just look inside. And I think that's something too where, you know, like you said, it kind of changed your life spiritually and in some ways too, like how, what kind of life changes did you make in your own life post passing that, you know, helped you become the best version of yourself?
Yeah. And obviously like I'm endlessly going to be working on that, right? Like I haven't achieved that,
right?
Like my full potential.
Right. But that must have been like a switch where it's just like everything kind of just like the priority shifted in a sense.
Yeah, dude. I think for me, it was about a year after Andy, no, exactly a year after Andy died. I actually remember the exact moment. Like we were at Andy's parents' house for, the anniversary of his death, the 1 year anniversary of his death. And that night I had like a White Claw in my hand and I was just like, I remember looking at me like, why am I drinking this? Like, I don't even like this. I don't like the way this makes me feel. I probably had like two of them or something, or two or three. And I was just like, tomorrow I'm not drinking and I'm not going to drink for the next month. And so and to be super clear, I never had like a huge issue with alcohol or anything. But the next, so that I made that decision at that moment at Andy's parents' house. And then that night, the girl that I had been with for like 8 years, we broke up that night. And this is kind of getting personal, but I'm just telling you the truth. This is the truth. Basically, all this stuff in my life was ending. You know what I mean? Like Andy's gone. I don't know what's going to happen with the band.
It's a turning point.
It's just a massive turning point. And then that night, we decided like, we're not going to be together anymore. And so the next month, I did no alcohol. That turned into like, hey, I'm going to do 3 months, no alcohol. And then, that turned into a year. And, I was just going through this massive change where I was by myself. I was living by myself and I had to make this kind of decision of like, hey, what kind of like man do you want to become? What kind of person do you want to become? And for me personally, drinking over the years too, like with being in a rock band and touring and stuff, like there's so much stuff that goes on tour that is like super normalized that I know is not good for me and the type of person that I want to become. So once I hit a year, no drinking, like totally sober, I just felt great. I started working out a lot. So I work out like pretty much every day. I maybe take Sundays off, but I'll still like run or something.
Yeah, for sure. You need it.
I'm kind of a psycho with it now because that's like, I just,
it's your addiction at this point.
It is.
Yeah, which is a good addiction.
Yeah, for sure. So it was a lot of things happening at once. I know I kind of talked about personal stuff too, but like, just a lot of big life changes, a lot of like looking inward and looking at things about myself that I didn't really respect. And I always had, even when I was younger, this sounds so weird to say, bro, but like, I remember being in my like mid 20s or late 20s and always having this idea of what my future like higher self would look like.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it was always this vision of like a more muscular and bald dude. I have no idea why. This is before I even lost my hair. I think I've always had this slight kind of somewhat relationship with like a higher version of myself that I'm endlessly trying to achieve. But I don't know why I ended up, going bald, but I guess that vision was right.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know, man. I, cutting out alcohol from my life and focusing on fitness and then, spiritually too. I mean, I started praying every single day. Wow. I have an older friend that invited me back to church, and that I began to have very insane, like visceral, like spiritual experiences at church that were involving Andy and my father. After Andy passed away, I had realized that there was a lot of like personal stuff I had not dealt with my father's death. So I was working through Andy's death and also working through my father's death at the same time. But I guess I just had a lot of these big realizations too, that like after Andy dying, I saw how many people looked up to the band and I saw how many people looked up to Katastro. And I think to a certain degree, like I feel responsible for being a good role model in other people's lives that I am surrounded by, like I produce and I run a studio. Kamp Recording Studios has become a massive part of my life that I'm really dumping into because I really believe in helping other people with music. And that's really what my goal is now. It's like, how can I help? It's when Andy died, it took me a while to get here, but like after working and healing through some things, for my whole life, it was like, how do I become successful? How do I become a famous drummer? How does the band make it? How does Katastro make it? How do I get? You know what I mean? How do I get these things? And then all this stuff happens. We lose Andy. The rug gets pulled out. And I switched the focus away from myself to like, how can I help others? Yeah. How can I help these other artists? How can I help produce how can I help this band out? How can I help my friend Mouse out? How can I help whatever? And that weight being lifted off of me, knowing that it's not about me anymore, has been like, it's been the best thing ever.
Yeah. Service.
I don't know how to
others.
explain that. It's like, it's literally like just so like, oh, thank God it's not about me, dude. Yeah. Because I don't want, it's too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's like Andy's passing almost gave you the okay to not focus on
and
you and the band, and like it's like you can do other things,
dude, for sure.
It's like he gave you the like, hey man, you don't have to stress out about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, hey bro, you can move on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like and that's how it feels now too, you know. And it took us a few years to get there, man. Like we didn't really know what was going to happen when we put out the final album, or if we would tour again. And I think when the time is right, Katastro will still probably do like a tour someday or something, but you know, for now it's like, I'm in a very exciting time in my life right now where this brand new chapter has opened in my life where I'm very excited to produce and mix and run a studio that is inviting everyone and anyone that is interested in making music and recording tons of different genres of music I never thought I'd work on.
Yep.
It's become really meaningful to me, bro. And
the experience of writing that, or mixing and writing that last album, really kind of let you sit into that part of you, you know, the producer, mixer, engineer part of you that now you're really leaning into. It was like, because you had a pretty big hand in like the mixing of this last record.
Yeah,
right?
And to be clear too, like, you know, every Katastro record was a huge collaboration with all of us. Okay. We were all very heavy-handed in it. I wasn't like doing everything by any means, but I did record all of Andy's vocals for that entire album. One of my buddies, Matt Keller, who's another producer mixer, he did a big chunk of the work on that album as well with us.
Nice.
Like production work. But yeah, that whole last week of Andy's life, I mean, I was the one running the sessions in LA for those demos, which would then become the actual vocal takes that we use for the record.
Insane.
So, you know, a lot of these things, dude, it's weird how it all just ties together.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. It's so crazy how the story of Katastro and my, you know, journey with the band for 18 years or however long, I think it's been like 18 years. All these skills and tools I learned along the way put me in the position now to be like running a studio, producing for other artists. And now something that I'm really passionate about is like anytime younger artists are in the studio with me, they're obviously asking me for advice because they see the stuff Katastro did, right? And I like to give them advice that works, and not saying I know everything, but I know what not to do. I know the things that got in the way, and circling back to like why I got sober and why I advocate for like healthy eating and not drinking alcohol and all these things is because I just know that they get in the way.
Yeah,
I do. And it's like, I don't see a world, and this is for me personally, maybe there's someone that disagrees, but like, there is not a world where I'm partying and drinking and not treating my body good and not exercising, and I get to meet a higher version of myself. And I get to meet like the potential that's inside of me. And that is really exciting to me, dude. Like it's seriously exciting to me to see how far I can take it. And then also I feel like the people that come into my orbit, they deserve the most of me. Like they don't deserve a dude that's showing up to the studio that's like hungover and like not really focused. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, you don't deserve that from me. Like you actually deserve like what I have to offer. And so like, if I'm going to figure out what I do have to offer, I got to weed things out of my life that don't aid in that. And so I've really been on like a focus, like pretty, you know, trying to really weed anything out of my life that gets in the way of that.
Yeah.
So whether it's the stuff I'm following on Instagram or like the music that I'm listening to or the people I spend my time with. And then once I started doing that, incredible people that I truly care about start popping into my life. I'm building new relationships with people I never thought I would, and becoming friends with artists I never thought I would. And it's just changed my life.
Yeah, for sure.
It changed my life. And I don't know, man. It's really exciting.
Things start to fall into place when you're at peace too. And I think that's something that's you finding that inner peace, which is really what it sounds like, is you finding that inner peace and clarity that you needed from all these years of not doing that. And you know, being go, what's next, tour, then writing, and then tour, then writing. You know, and it's like having that nonstop doesn't give you time to even have these thoughts. So it's like the fact that you're able to sit down with yourself.
Down and think like, hey, where am I going?
What am I doing?
Where am I going? Where am I headed?
Yes, dude. And I think that's such like a beautiful thing for you to like to take Andy's passing as a positive and be like, I'm gonna live the best version of me for you.
Dude, you know what's crazy too is that throughout the years, when I first started making beats and like started producing, Andy was my one friend that always would gas me up. He was the only one that would kind of like pull me aside and be like, dude, your beats are sick. Like he would tell me when we would have like, we'd sometimes like say we were playing a wax show on tour and we're in like Virginia on a Tuesday night and there's like 15 people and it just sucks. Like we know it just sucks. We're backstage, we're like, this sucks. And Andy'd be like, we would have these really funny hypothetical conversations about what we were going to do when the band fails. Like we would just go on these rants and Andy would like start talking about how he's going to like do sales and like make tons of money in like sales or just something so funny that he would never be able to do. And then he'd be like, Stravs, you're gonna be fine, bro. You can just go play drums in like huge bands because you're fire at drums, or you can go make beats for like Post Malone or something. Or he'd just say funny stuff like that. But yeah, man, I don't know, dude. It's like, there are some really huge things that Andy taught me about life and about music and about being in the studio that I want to hold on to and give to the people that come and work with me in the future. But he always just had this childlike wonder with music and just like, he just loved making a new song. It was like, he lit up like a kid on Christmas. Yeah. And so that, and then just like having belief, bro. Like, I don't think anything in life can get better. I don't think you can achieve anything great in life without believing.
For sure. You gotta like, it has to start here. It has to start here.
Like any Katastro song we ever made, we just sat down. We're like, yo, we could do it. Yes. We could make something sick.
Yeah, dude.
So it's like, I had this conversation with one of my friends last week, and I was telling her that. I was like, anything that's worth fighting for, anything that's worth doing is like it initially starts with this belief. Yeah. And the only time artists get like writer's block, I really think what it is just this lack of faith in the idea that you could make something really great right now. You just have to like hold on to that. Like you have to hold on to that feeling of like, hey, anything could happen. Yeah. Let's just throw some paint at the wall because anything could happen right now.
Yeah, that's so true.
Like,
yeah, especially with music, dude.
Especially with music. Like any song could change things. Like you have to have that belief, because I think that's that childlike wonder of what could this be? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And to like any young artists up and coming that are listening to this right now, like that's the main thing. Like
you know how I was telling you I've worked with Oswin Benjamin.
Yes.
Like his highest streaming track is called On Track.
Yes.
Featuring Chris Webby. I believe that's his highest streaming track. We'll have to check.
Yes.
I might be flexing for no reason. but it's one of his big songs.
And you produce that.
Yeah, I produced the beat for that. But dude, here's the thing. I did not produce it for Oswin. I produced that beat for no reason in the van while we were on tour with my laptop open on my lap.
Yeah.
And then like it happened to be in a pack of beats that I sent Oswin one day. He used it. Chris Webby jumped on the track. Like I had no idea that beat would see the light of day.
Yeah.
And it did. Yeah. And it's like, I just was making something that I thought was dope.
That's right.
And so that's what I think that's how I'm trying to approach life now, is like when someone comes into my life or someone hits me up and asks me to go get coffee, I'll be like, I'll maybe I try to stop wondering like, how can I get something from this? And just be like, oh, cool, let's go for the ride. Let's see. Who knows where this could go?
Yeah.
And it's such an exciting way to view life, because then it means like anything is possible and you're just along for this ride that's like unraveling in front of you.
Yeah.
And once I started doing that, bro, like so many more artists were popping into my life, different bands. You know, a rock band approaches me and they want to make a certain style of music. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do that, but like, I'll try, let's do it. And then we do it and it's awesome. It's like, I don't know. It's just,
yeah, dude. I love it.
Just
I
saying
love
yes.
music so much. Just say yes. I was just gonna say that.
It's exciting,
dude. It's like, say yes, figure it out later, especially in like creative fields. And it's like, if it's in you, that shit's gonna come out of you, bro. And it's like, I 100% am on board for like, when the shit is like, the flow state is cooking, just let the flow state cook. And I like, there's been times where
just
like,
shut up and cook.
Yeah, just shut up and cook, dude. There's been times.
But
in
I
the
think
studio.
life is like that too.
Yes.
I'm not trying to get cheesy here,
No,
but like, dude, straight up, like the connections I have made to like what I believe is happening in my life, which is just insane, is like I'm in this insane position where God just like plopped a studio into my lap. So Katastro moved into the camp where Kamp Recording Studios is in Tempe.
Yeah.
We moved into that studio and started remodeling it before Andy died, not knowing that we would then finish our final album in that studio, right? Like COVID hit, our tours got canceled. We were like, yo, we need a studio. We moved into this spot for a month. That turned into being like, hey, can we stay for 3 months? And then we worked something out with the guy that was renting it out to us. And I was just like, yo, like we want to stay for a while. That turned into staying for a few years. And so Andy passes away in this car accident. I continue to finish remodeling the studio, really trying to turn it into a home, because straight up, like we just needed a home. Like Katastro needed a home to like grieve in, bro. We needed a home to like finish our album, and like our brother just died. So it's like, while this is happening, I have all these other artists begin to reach out to me more to help finish their projects. And then I start doing that as my full-time job. You know, that is my full-time thing now. All I do is I produce and I mix and I run a studio, and that's what I'm dumping all my time into now. But like, it's crazy to look back on the evolution of it and see like how things were placed to put me in this position where I could use all the things I learned with Katastro to help people that have not hit those certain levels yet. Yeah. And maybe guide them. So now I'm like entering this new chapter where I'm like, I don't know if I feel ready to be a mentor, but like all these people are asking for it. All these people, all these kids like want some sort of advice. So that kind of circles back to these big life decisions and like changes that I've made in myself. Because I want to be someone that, you know, that someone could look up to. Yeah. And so I'm endlessly looking at that and trying to figure out what that means to me. Physically, mentally, spiritually. And that's very exciting, bro. Cause it's like, I think sometimes in life, things can get really depressing when you don't believe that you can grow anymore. I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. They feel like, I'm not growing anymore. I'm just stuck. I'm always going to be this way. And like, I think the band not being a primary focus in my life anymore, I'm not being a guy in a band, has freed me to become the new person that I know I could be someday. Does that make sense? Absolutely. It's almost like an identity that gets shattered, and I've got to be careful, right? That I don't recreate that with being a producer or being a guy that runs a studio, you know, like kind of untethering your self-worth entirely from what you do, right? Like what you do as an artist. And that's hard to do, because when you spend all your time doing something, it's like, when, you know, when people ask me what do I do, I'm like, I'm a producer, because I'm like producing music. I'm, you know, whatever. But it is more than that, you know, like I want to be a good friend. I want to be healthy. I want to be a good son. Yeah. I'm figuring out my relationship with God and you know, implementing like prayer in my life. And that, I will say, has changed my life more than anything, more than any amount of therapy I've done. I think it also has made my relationships with people, whether it's a 2-minute interaction with someone at a gas station or an artist that I'm in the studio with for 12 hours, it has made those interactions way more meaningful. Right. Because I feel like if everything is being put in front of me to teach me something and truly like help me evolve through whatever this insane human experience is, that is so much more meaningful than just believing everything is a coincidence and that you have, you know what I mean? You're just at the whim of anything that's happening to you. Like I really think, and I think producing has taught me this too, but like, I think we have a chance to participate in life. And in order for your life to be meaningful, you do have to participate.
Yeah.
Like opportunities are going to pop up. You're going to be asked to do things, or you're going to be asked to go through challenging times. You're going to be asked to do things you don't want to do, but like, what happens if you participate willingly? You know what I mean? Like, what does that do to your life? How does that change your life? So many artists that reached out to me to record them where I first thought like, I don't know if I could do this. And I just said yes. And I decided to participate. That changed my life or their lives. Now those artists are on like shows that they never thought they'd be on because I knew someone that could get them, not taking responsibility for it. I'm just saying like, we are living in a web of like connection. Yeah. And like, you either recognize that and you start playing with it and like interacting with it, and it becomes really exciting. It's like, dude, music has taught me that so much, bro. And you probably know that too, but like we are all so hyper connected in a way that is so unfathomable that like you see it so much in the music industry. Like every band I record or artist I record, they know somebody else that also knows this guy. And it's like, the web is deep. Yeah, and man. So I think, you know, I just think it makes life so much more exciting to view it that way.
Absolutely. You're one person away from anybody in the world. I tell everybody that, like all my friends, it's like anything we ever wanted in our lives, we're one person away. One phone call, one text message. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
So it all, to me, all of those concepts kind of tie together, you know, like talking about potential that we were talking about earlier is like, I just, consistency and like your mindset they're just such massive things, dude, and I'm trying to be very careful in what I participate in now and what I put into my body, and it's hard, bro, you know.
Yeah, man. But there's something that's like a theme of like what you've like been doing since Andy's passing is service unto others, and I think that's like a very, I don't know, spiritual, biblical type of, you know, value and almost character trait, which is providing value to people and you know, providing service unto others. That's literally what it is. And
there's definitely more I can be doing. There's definitely more I can be doing for sure. I'm not trying to be like, oh, look how good I am. But
that
I
makes
think what
you
I'm
feel
trying
good,
to,
though.
what I've been trying to do after Andy passed, I think what has become very obvious to me is that I believe that like God gave me skills and a gift within music to not only play the drums, but to help people record and these skills that I've learned are, you know, from others too. But I'm in this position now where like I have these tools and these skills to help other people. Yeah. And I can just feel it within the fiber of my being that that's what I'm supposed to do now. I'm supposed to give back because I already had my thing. Like Katastro did it. We did it. We played Red Rocks. We went on massive tours. We put out, you know, 9 records. Like we did it. Like I already did the thing. Like if I wanted to keep chasing that, it would never end. Yeah. Like literally, bro. Like if Andy was still alive, like who knows? We'd probably be on tour. I'd probably be worried that like our new album only had like 50 million streams and not 70. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just those numbers were never going to stop. Like it never was going to stop. And now I get equal satisfaction when I see a kid like that has never been to the studio before, like light up because he just recorded his first song. Like that equally just feels as dope as me. It's still like playing in front of a huge crowd. Wow. It's just sick. I just like, I love music. I want to help people make music, and I want Kamp to be a community and a family to where like you're welcome. We're all going through the same stuff. And that's what's cool about music too, is like seeing what Katastro went through. Like I've also toured with big artists that are on a way higher level than Katastro, and I see the demons that some of these guys deal with. Yeah. I see how their lives are not perfect on the other side of the grass. Like the grass is not always greener. Facts. It's very true, bro. It's like, I think, I guess the stage I'm at now, it's giving me a chance to slow down, see what's in front of me and see how beautiful it is and be like, damn, this is really cool. And so I want to water that and like see where that goes. So that's basically what camp is. It's a little tiny seed that's being watered right now.
Yeah,
and
man.
it's already blossoming into something really dope, dude.
Yeah.
So,
Welcome to camp.
yeah. Welcome to camp.
Yeah, man. And
So-
camp. I mean, you mentioned Kamp Recording Studios, and before you did actually, I'd wanted to bring this up. You started the podcast, the Kamp podcast.
The camp podcast was me and Ryan.
Ryan, right.
Where we talked about the band and touring and life
Right.
and just funny stuff.
So sick. And
Yeah.
I feel like,
We did like 160 episodes of that.
yeah, and you guys did 100 episodes audio only. Well, 99 episodes audio only. And then you came back with episode 100 for the release show.
Did you know Andy was supposed to be the 100th episode? Isn't that crazy?
No.
Yep. He
you
was gonna
released 99 the day before he passed away.
Yep.
I saw that.
Pretty wild.
I was like, what a crazy, because I don't even know what was on, like, because I saw you guys release the episode and I was like, wait, May 11? Wait.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's wild to even, because I was even like, I noticed when I was doing research, there was a beautiful compilation that some fan put out there about you and Ryan talking about Andy throughout the, you know, it's like an hour and 20 minutes or something of like just Andy stories. And it's so funny, dude. I'm like laughing. Dude. I'm like, dang, like crying because I'm like, dang, like it's so sad he's not here anymore.
Yeah, bro.
But it's just like, it's so like, it's cool that you guys had that podcast and you kind of like time stamped a bunch of stuff. And like these conversations you guys are having like in the early studios, like one cam wide on some SM58s, you know, you and Ryan just like episode 3, just like barely even, you know.
Yeah, we started it in my apartment, like during COVID.
I love that.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah,
man. But it's like, I think that's such a cool little thing. But that was like, was that the first time that you like branded like camp or whatever? Or
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was. Camp was an early idea that we had for it being like an infrastructure for our fans.
Got it.
On the summer tour that we were going to do with Iration and Atmosphere right before when Andy died, we were going to potentially launch Camp as like a VIP fan club for our fans. And it was just an idea that we had for, you know, it just being a bigger thing that Katastro could be under, like a big canopy kind of brand thing.
Totally.
And then, you know, we did the Kamp podcast, and then now there's Kamp Records, Kamp Recording Studios.
Yeah.
Which Kamp Recording Studios is mainly just me running that now.
Right.
But, you know, to be fair, like Tanner and Ryan have just been a massive part of everything. And obviously like the studio started as like Katastro's headquarters. I think in the coming years, it will become something much bigger. That's just, you know, something that artists can walk into and feel support and feel guidance and come and make really great records. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and
so I have
focus.
Yeah,
keep going.
No, just like Tanner and Ryan still work on projects with me. You know, me and Ryan specifically do a lot of co-production stuff together. Like we've done actually the song I did with Futuristic and Native Leaves. Me and Ryan produced that one together. Not to do a plug, but all the stuff I've been producing, that's dope. Mouse Pal's new record just came out last week.
Oh yeah,
which I fully produced and mixed. I fully produced it alongside Ryan Weddle, bassist of Katastro.
Beautiful.
So yeah, man, I think it's exciting to just not know what's coming and roll with it, man.
For sure, man.
And that was the biggest I will say the biggest thing I learned after Andy passing away was, man, all of my plans that I had for my life are not going the way I thought they'd go. Literally none of them. All of them just got taken away.
Yeah, dang, dude. It's like
so
new blueprint.
Like, so it's like, okay. And then going back to like, you know, the spiritual side of things, it's like for me having faith that I absolutely should not be the one that's in control of my life and I should not be making the plan. It has been like this weight has fallen off my shoulders, being like, thank you. Like I can depend on somebody else. Wow. Like he's got me. Like it's cool. Like
it's already written.
He's got me, and there's people coming into my life now that are transforming it. And like, dude, that is the most comforting feeling I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
And I've done therapy before. I've done different things, but yeah, bro. It's like this new, for me, I've been going through this new wave of like truly learning how to like love myself and take care of myself.
Yes, dude.
I'm on my eat, pray, love grind, baby. It's over.
You know what's wild is like
for real though. Like I really am, dude.
Dude.
And it's like, it's like, it's so, yeah, I don't know, man. It's exhausting to try to control everything.
Yeah.
And I did it to people around me. I did it to the guys in the band for years. I did it to our manager. I did it to a lot of other people. If he listens to this, he'll be happy I admitted that. But we all do, you know? We all do. We all have this like tight grip on the way we think things should be. And like, it's so hard for me to loosen that grip, bro, but I'm trying to loosen that grip.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you know what I mean? You know what it feels like when you have it loose and you're like just riding the wave?
Yes.
And then other times you're just like, you're trying to pretend that you can control the storm.
Yeah, dude. And
you gotta go where the storm takes you sometimes.
Dude, that's so true. And I feel like that's like some of when I'm just going with the flow and all that stuff, I'm more at peace. I'm happier. People are coming into my life that like are, inspiring, positive figures.
I didn't know until recently that there are people that are genuinely positive and want the best for you in your life. I'm gonna take that back. That's not fully real.
Clip it.
But I just feel like, dude, there's just certain people that have come into my life recently where I'm just like, I cannot believe someone like you even exists. This is incredible. And like, it starts to change your brain. It starts to change the way you believe in good. And like, man, that is so beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
especially with like in entertainment, and I'm sure that you've experienced because you've been in it for so long, dude. So I'm sure you've seen the dark sides of the industry, like how people manipulate and lie and steal and cheat and all these things.
It's happened to us. Yeah.
I'm sure that it's happened to everybody that's successful. All those dark forces within the entertainment industry, they exist. Yeah. So it's like to be in a situation where you can like recognize that and like now only keep positive, creative individuals around you because you're doing it with intention.
Yes, but I want to be clear that like I'm not just like cutting people out that like, oh, you smoked a joint, like you're out of my life. No. Or like you drink like dude, I am so flawed as a human being, and I'm in no position to judge anybody. I am just merely I'm just talking about what works for me and what hasn't worked for me, and cleaning up areas of my life with my health and not putting substances in my body that aren't going to help me move up and move forward. I don't want that to come off in a judgy way, but also if that annoys you, I genuinely do not care what you think.
Yeah,
because I know like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, to that point, it's
I genuinely do not care what people think about me now, and that also is a freeing thing.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, I'm going up. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday. I got to link up with one of my dudes that I produced a lot of records for, and I hadn't seen him for a while. He came to the studio the other day, and I told him that. We were laughing, and I looked down. I was like, dude, I'm going up. So like, you're either coming with me or like, you're not. and I said it in such a cocky way, but I was also like serious. And he's like, dude, let's go. He's like, I want to go too.
I want to go too.
Yeah. And I was like, let's go. We're going up.
Yeah, exactly, man. And
so that's why I've been posting more on Instagram. Like lately in my personal Instagram, I've been posting more stuff like healthy food I'm eating, or like when I'm going on runs or hitting the gym or whatever. And it's like, dude, I'm sure some people are seeing that. I'm like, dude, this is so annoying, but I don't care because I think it's a positive thing to see.
Absolutely.
Consistently, and know that like those are things that have actually changed my life.
Yeah, like
literally, bro, like eating real food, exercising hard. Like I just started jujitsu. I'm like 20 classes in.
Oh shit,
I went this morning actually.
Amazing.
Yeah, I learned how to choke somebody out and throw them on their back this morning. Do you want to see? No, for real. Like
that's crazy.
So I started jujitsu. I'm strength training like 4 days a week.
Hell yeah.
I've been running at night every night. But dude, it makes me so happy.
Fuck yeah.
Because every day when you make decisions that are stacking chips in your favor for the following day, it's a cheat code to me. It like seriously is a cheat code. It's like momentum and consistency and discipline is everything. And I feel like it's completely changed my life, especially, your whole podcast is about being an entrepreneur, being creative. All this stuff really is based on output and how much you're able to, how much good, like being creative and being an entrepreneur. It all comes down to like how much you're getting in the way of yourself.
Right. I
really think it's like you're either getting in your own way or you're constantly working to get out of your own way. That was my decision to like clean up and like stop drinking. Like on Fridays and Saturday nights, I'm not out drinking with friends. I'm not out at a bar. I'm like working on my business at home.
Yeah.
I'm reading. And maybe, who knows, maybe this is just a chapter, who knows? But for right now, this is what is making me feel like I'm using my time wisely, spend more time with myself and on building something that I believe in, that I do believe could help other people in the future too.
Yeah.
Which is camp, obviously.
For sure.
But
yeah, it's like building a better version of yourself, bro. Too. Yeah, it's like, it's exciting because it's like a new chapter.
Because when you get and it starts snowballing, and you see growth and you see like, oh, these seeds that I planted a year ago, 2 years ago, and this started a long time ago, dude. Like some people might look at the camp Instagram right now and see like, oh, that must be nice or whatever. But like, dude, I started when Katastro started making money like 5-6 years ago. And anytime we'd get a decent check, I was putting all that money and reinvesting it into building a business and buying the gear that I needed to record people and buying programs and buying plugins and all this stuff. It's very expensive.
Very,
very expensive to like, run a studio and have the gear you need and all that kind of stuff. And
people don't see that.
People don't know, and people don't see the months of where you didn't make much money and maybe you're working on projects that whatever. And like, it's a grind, dude. Yeah. It's a grind against yourself too, because you have to believe that you can do it. And then when it's not working out, you also have to believe that you can do it.
Yeah. Which is an important reason to keep positive people around you. And it's like to keep those positive energies around you, because otherwise you'll be like, you know what? You're right. I suck.
And you also, you also have to have the humility. That's why, honestly, like when I started, like I told you, I started jujitsu recently. The thing I love about jujitsu is there's nothing that you cannot lie your way out of it. You can't like fake it. Like you either don't know what you're doing or you do.
Yeah.
Like you're just going to get choked out if you don't know what you're doing. And it's
real life.
It's so satisfying to like learn something like that new, because it's teaching me in other areas of my life too, that like, I don't know, dude. It's just it's so cool how it all works. But
for sure. And that's like
I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, it's an interesting metaphor where it's just like, if you're not like, you either know what you're doing or you're going to get choked out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, figure it out.
Life is going to choke you out.
Life is going to choke you out.
And you just have to learn how to deal with that.
Yes, dude. Holy shit. I mean, metaphorically, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude. And I think that's like, and I only met you like a month and a half ago, I feel like, when
Josh came to do the live shoot at camp.
4-Leaf Clover, which is on YouTube.
Shout out Kaleidoscope Kid, man.
Shout out Kaleidoscope
he's dope.
Kid. Yeah. Yes. So, and from like the moment I stepped into the studio, great energy already.
Yeah. You know how'd you feel when you walked in?
I felt like I had already known you guys, which is weird because I feel like that only happens.
I felt that way about you too when I met you. I was like, I feel like I know this dude.
That's so crazy because
this is the beginning of a long friendship.
Yes.
It's documented.
Documented on camera. Yeah, for real though. Because I've only had that feeling with a select few people in my life, and generally those people are in my life for years. And it's like some of my best friends today, they were like the instant connections.
I took you to urgent care to get stitches this morning. If we're not BFFs after this, I don't know what kind of BFF you want, bro. I'm the man you need, bro. Come on.
Yo, for real, look at this shit. Yo, it's bleeding.
Yo, it's bleeding.
I gotta watch this out after this.
Yeah.
But dude, for real though, it's like, and I really do feel like from the moment I met anybody that was in the room, and it was just you and what was the other homie's name?
Keanu.
Yes, Keanu. Yeah. Yes. And just both of you guys just felt like the homies already. And I feel like that's so important.
So that's what I want camp to be, dude.
Yes.
Not to interrupt you.
No, that's it.
Like
though.
I truly have this grand vision of camp in the future where it is this, just incredible artist oasis.
Yes.
Where artists can come and work on high level music, any artists on different levels too. Like I want it to be open to artists that maybe have never been to a studio before. And there's situations like that for an artist, but then also like high level, artists on labels or big bands have everything they need in this compound to make great records. And something that I never thought I'd be interested in, which I'm just diving into now, is like I hosted a field trip for an art school a couple weeks ago.
Oh shit.
And I know that eventually camp is going to be something where it's an actual kids camp.
Oh yeah.
Where like maybe certain times throughout the year, kids can come and they can learn how to record and produce and learn production and record in the studio. And like, I'm just walking through a new door now where I'm super excited to teach people what I've learned. I'm still learning too. Like I'm still learning as a producer. I went up to kick it with my boy Matt Keller at his pad recently because he was recording like a metal band and I wanted to see how that worked, and I was learning from him. And I'm still always trying to learn, but I'm at this level now where like I've done stuff and like I want to share it with younger kids that are trying to learn. Because when I started producing and making beats, when I was 20, I would have killed to find a dude like me that had a studio that would let me just come intern and watch and hang out. So CRAS, the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences, they're sending me kids now. I've got 2 interns that are coming to the studio today. I'm starting to teach them how to record vocals and clean the studio and all that kind of stuff.
That's I mean,
so it's really exciting. So like for me, the reason I'm really excited about camp is I have the same feeling I did when Katastro started, where I have this huge vision of what it could possibly be in the future, and it's just at such an infancy stage right now, but it's already dope to where like I just know, I think I'll say this, I think a lot of creatives and artists sometimes have I think we have a big issue with not understanding that the cap and like ceiling of where our art can go directly correlates with where we are, like as a person. I think like the more you look at yourself and you try to change and you try to grow, I think it's going to bleed out into the art and help the art. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's like the more like you feel like the passion.
Well, I don't know. Let me word this better. I had this discussion yesterday with one of my friends who has been trying to clean up his life. He's an artist that I've produced in the past. And a few years ago, he was at this stage where he was just ready to burn everything else in his life down to the ground in pursuit of this one goal, to be an artist that's going to make it. You know what I mean? To where it's like, I don't care if I'm not making money. I don't care if I have a job. I'll go homeless. I'll go whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like burn everything down. I just need to get to that goal.
Yeah.
I think that is a very bad angle to take. Yeah. Because when you're not filled up and you're not taking care of yourself, and like I always tell younger artists, like, dude, I served tables for 8 years
while you're running Katastro.
While I was in Katastro touring, dude, the first time we played Red Rocks, I came home the next weekend and was serving tables. It was like the biggest ego hit ever. Yeah. It was like, dude, you're nothing.
You're here,
like,
and then you
go bring this tofu to that table because you are nothing. No, it was like great for me. Like looking back, it was awesome for me. But I always tell younger artists now, like, I'm finally in a position now where like music is my career, but like, the Katastro never fully made it financially. Like if you're going to talk specifics like that, yeah, we were making money for sure. Like I was paying my rent and like paying my bills from the band, but was I making enough to like that be a career where I could like take care of like some kids and like a wife? Like, and that goes back to your definition of success. Like if you just want to be a single dude for the rest of your life and just make art and live in an apartment, like sure, that's, I guess, successful for you. But if you're trying to like really turn it into something that can like maybe take care of other people, we never quite hit that point with the band. So, anyways, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's like an opportunity for you to kind of like make that, like have this next chapter. Like, I mean, we keep saying like this is the next chapter, and that's really what it is. And it's like, you're kind of starting this next chapter, like 50 pages in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're like, totally. You're already 50 pages in.
It's like I'm starting over.
Yeah, it's like you're starting over, but you have all the knowledge and experience that you had. So you're not starting over. You're starting at a different level, and it's just like, it's almost like you went through levels 1-10, and now you're starting at 2-1. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's just like you didn't lose your progress. You're just on the next stage within the whole experience
Yeah.
of the game of life.
Mhm.
And I think that's like a beautiful place to be in, where you can like take all these life lessons that you've learned, and maybe even going running it on the what is that like running the shit hot, like like burning the kettle black type shit
Yeah.
when you're running in Katastro, where it's just like nonstop. You don't have time to like settle down. What do I want to do? You know, having these meditative type practices with yourself, making your coffee in the morning, going to, you know, work out every single day, and just having this like peace within. I think that's like such a beautiful place to do anything from. So the fact that you're like starting a business, and like your personal life is being affected positively, and you're almost thinking about it intentionally, like how are other people going to perceive this? Not in a way of like, how are they going to judge me, but like, what type of inspiration am I going to give to these kids? You know, these kids are looking up to me.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, which way are they going to be navigated?
Yeah.
Right? Because like I've just seen all the pitfalls that artists have, whether it's viewing things in a negative way and focusing on the wrong stuff, focusing on stuff you don't have control over, getting too hammered to play your show,
Right.
or ruining experiences when like you open for a band, not knowing how to like interface with talking to them backstage. And just there's certain like etiquette things, or just common sense that I think it's common sense because I just lived that life for so long. But for newer bands, newer artists coming up, all of them are asking the same things, asking for the same kind of like, hey, how can I do this? So I'm really in the infancy stages now of like figuring out how I can be more than just a producer, but a better friend to these artists, and maybe build something that's more of like a community where, you know, people feel more supported, and like like someone actually cares. I mean, cause I do care, dude. Like when people come into my studio and they're working with me, I genuinely care. I genuinely care about them.
Yeah.
And,
that bleeds through as well. Like those artists wouldn't want to continue working with you if they didn't feel that energy coming
my
from
return
you.
rate is 100%. It's
Yeah,
like everyone's coming back.
Yeah,
and
that's so important.
So that is also exciting, you know, when you water certain plants and they just keep growing and growing and growing. It's like, shout out Mouse, dude. Mouse is a good example. It's like, you know, we spent a few years making his record, and he's got a headlining show at Crescent this Friday to celebrate the release of the album, which I'm going to play with him.
Hell yeah.
But he's got some shows. He's doing some big shows now and big festivals. He's touring. He's got some big shows with Iration this summer. And so it's really exciting for me. Like I can see how in the future, the more bands, more artists I produce, to see them go off and do great things with the music you help them with the studio. Yeah. That's like, I would imagine how it feels when like a dad sends his kid off to college or something.
Exactly, bro. Like in a weird, like so
you know
true
I mean?
though. It's like, oh, you brought this up from nothing. You know, it's like we came up with this baby together. Like that album that you produced, everything. Like thinking back to like when you guys first sat down, let's write an album. You know what I mean? Like thinking back to that moment, and then to now, like, see
that
it come
album's
full
really
circle.
important and special to us as friends, like me and Ryan and Tanner and Mouse. Because, you know, we lost Andy during the making of his album, and Mouse tragically lost his friend Joey, who a freak accident happened in Scottsdale. He fell off like a golf cart and was in a coma the next few days, and then he passed. And so all of us were like heavy grieving, dude, just going through a crazy time in life. And, you know, music has always been there for me when I felt like I had nothing else. You know, so it's crazy. Yeah, I had experienced quite a bit of loss even before we lost Andy, which I think has helped shape my heart to some degree over the span of my life. Like my uncle who taught me how to play the drums, he overdosed on heroin when I was 30, when I was 17. He was only 35. I'm 35 now. And so that, like, you know, my other cousin, Michael Stravers, he died in a car accident 7 years ago. I lost my dad 5 years ago to cancer. And then Andy died. It was like kind of a lot of loss to where it shakes you up in a way that I think is very healthy for the soul of like kind of zooming out a little bit and being like, all right, when you don't know when you're going to die, bro. Like I don't know when I'm going to die. So who do you want to be?
Yeah.
It's not next week. It's like, who do you want to be today? And I think that's a big one, dude. Like whether you're trying to take care of your health, or maybe your art or your business or whatever it is, it's like, or your relationship, who do you want to be today? Like who do you want to be today in this moment? And that's what you have control over. And then those start stacking. And so, and it's hard, dude. Like, yeah, I have bad days. I have days where I'm like, I do something where I'm like not proud of that or whatever it is. And not like, yeah, so much to always work on, but
that doesn't take away the progress from
no.
Like we were
And
talking about earlier.
I think there's just so many things we constantly do to ourselves that make life way more difficult.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
and that's why like the drinking and all that stuff, like there's just certain things I realize like these things I'm doing are just making things harder. Why would I make life harder? I need to make life easier for myself.
Yeah. And being faced with like those unfortunate circumstances of like mortality being shown like right here, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like that's the type of stuff where it's like there's no getting around it.
Yeah, and there's and there's a lot of stuff tied up with that too. It's like when my dad passed away, a big reason why I don't drink now also, and this is a common thing, I think for kids that were in a house where there was an alcoholic parent, I think it is a common thing where like, they either become an alcoholic or they just never touch alcohol again as a result of maybe that upbringing or whatever. But my dad had a serious problem with alcohol. And I remember the night my parents basically got divorced and split up, like my dad came home and he was absolutely hammered. Like he could barely walk and he walked in through the back door. He drove home that way. So at a young age, I was able to start kind of seeing like what alcohol could do to like a family.
Yeah.
And, after losing my dad, I still had to work through some things that I didn't realize I was still angry at him for. And, my parents splitting up because of his issues and all this stuff. But I think that all ties into like me further reflecting on like what kind of man I want to be. What kind of great things do I want to take from my father that were amazing, like his sense of humor and his drive and his work ethic of being an entrepreneur and running his own businesses and being creative and having belief in like his own ideas. Those are beautiful things that I think I have like taken on and held on to. Mm-hmm. But then there's also things that there's big mistakes that he made that were also taught me though. It's like he still did his job in teaching me. It's not the way I would have quite maybe wanted to learn how to treat a woman or, how to treat my body and respect my body as if it was something that was truly given to me as a gift, and so I'm now kind of going through the process of relearning some of those things on my own, or other people in my life that I respect, so
yeah.
It's beautiful, bro.
Yeah, man. It is such a beautiful thing. And it's like having all these like examples of people around you to be able to like inspire you to become a better version of yourself.
Even when someone is slipping up around you or whatever, they're still an example.
Yes.
So I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's like, when these younger kids or artists come to camp, whether it's my best friend that's my age, or it's a kid that's, 20 years old or 16 or whatever it is, like I still am responsible for what kind of vibe I'm throwing out there and what I'm doing and who I am. And I know it's going to bleed out because I think we're very easily like influenced.
Yeah.
I think we're very easily influenced as human beings.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
yeah, especially in like entertainment and creative fields, I think that's
100%.
The first thing like people look up to is like, who do I want to be like, or who am I looking up to? And like, I mean, the same way that like you guys looked up to those bands that you guys looked up to, some bands are looking up to Katastro.
Like, dude, the amount of artists I know that like probably could have done something and been something that ruined their career with drinking or pills, or just overthinking and not
being in their own way,
their ego ruining relationships, ruining their chances. Like I've seen it so many times, bro.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times, and it's sad when it's like a really talented artist where you're like, dude, you are so fire, you have it all, but you are in the way.
Yeah.
You're burning your own bridges down, bro. Like,
yeah.
So that's, not to tell people what to do, but I think, I'm inspired by telling younger artists what I know does not help
Exactly.
or work.
Yeah, man.
You know?
It's and like I said, it's not about telling them what to do. It's just telling them what you did and how
Yeah.
it worked for you. And I mean, it's just like,
And a lot of Katastro
Speak from
fans too. You know,
experience.
I still get messages all the time, from Katastro fans that are like, "Hey, I love the positive stuff you've been posting because like I just got clean. I've been clean for a year now." And some of these fans are like people that had serious drug abuse issues or
Yeah.
alcohol issues or whatever. And it's like, I don't know, man. That's so dope when people get inspired by that because like that could change their families' lives.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
like I never really realized it until up like very recently, like how much influence everyone has.
Yeah.
Everybody, like
That's
you
so
have
true.
influence. You have a podcast.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's an empowering feeling because
For
then
sure.
you're like, oh, word, like all the decisions I make every day actually do matter.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't want to
wow.
feel that. Like they don't
Yeah.
want to feel the weight of that reality that like every action you make every day and what you're putting your time into and it all actually matters. That's a crazy, like if you sit and think with that,
Yeah.
that's a pretty overwhelming thought.
For sure. And it's even more overwhelming when
I don't
you
know
realize.
how far this rabbit hole you want to go down. I can get deep, as you can tell. As you can tell, I can go deep, bro.
No, it's like it's even more overwhelming when you realize that it's like it's not even just for you though. It's like
No, dude, we're all connected. That's what I'm telling you,
it's
bro.
like- it's like what you are doing and your decisions on a day-to-day basis influence
It's
people
not about
that you don't
you.
even know. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Like all
crazy.
your decisions you make are not just about you.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's real. But
That's real,
yeah.
dude.
It's almost like
And so
if-
that's another
yeah,
thing too, you
have
know,
to with
like, and I've
intention.
kind of talked about this a little bit on videos I posted recently, but like, and I don't want to speak, I want to be very clear. I'm not speaking for the band right now. I'm speaking more for myself and my personal opinion on this situation. But like, throughout the years, Katastro, I'm sure, I feel like Futuristic has probably had a similar conversation with you about this, but like throughout the years, we did promote this like party culture and, a lot of our songs have, talking about drug use and partying and hooking up with girls or whatever it is. And like, I have changed so much in the last few years where I realize how, I want to word this the right way, but like how, I guess, dangerous that influence can be on like younger kids or people in general. And,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm in this position where like a lot of our fans look up to me,
Right.
like I get messages from people all the time. And so now I just, I have a chance to maybe correct that pathway a little bit in my own life and let people know like, hey, like this way is a little bit better actually.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, like it's going to be better not only for you, but it's going to be better for your friends and for your family and for your kids. And you know what I mean? Because I think, a lot of the things that are popular in the world, like in our society that are heavily pushed on people on Instagram or social media and are just not the way you actually live a meaningful, healthy life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah.
You don't need more stuff.
For sure.
You don't need more sex. You don't need more like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I could go into that a lot, but that's more of like, it's like a spiritual battle almost.
For sure.
So,
but like having the level head for your own life allows you to be able to like have that level head for other people too. Because if you weren't living the way that you're living now,
well, then I'd just be a hypocrite
then
too,
you would
right?
be a hypocrite and you wouldn't be in a
Yeah.
position to be able to, I don't know, advise people on like decisions that they should potentially make because you're not even making those decisions.
Yeah.
So I think it goes back to what you're saying too, where it's just like, it's bigger than you, where it's like, yes, you are making the decisions on a day-to-day basis, becoming the best version of yourself. But like, if you want to be someone that someone can trust and like believe you, then you're going to have to live
And I need to
that
be able to
life.
trust myself.
That's the biggest thing.
That's the
That's
biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. And that's
Yeah.
what like the gym has taught me mentally.
Mhm.
Being on a consistent like workout routine and like eating properly and like it builds this sense of self-worth and respect for yourself that makes you actually trust and believe in yourself more.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't, now 2 years, no alcohol. working out consistently, seeing my body physically change, seeing just like, even when I see older pictures of myself, like I look healthier in the face. Like I can feel it. I can feel that it's like, I feel like a different version of myself.
Wow.
And, I don't know. That's how I feel, at least. That's just how, like, I feel good.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I just wonder how often we don't give ourselves that opportunity to like make some room in your life for good.
Yeah. to see that new version, dude. Yes, yeah, for sure.
You might have to go through a lonely period. Like, I'll admit, like the last couple years, I did go through this lonely chapter of like, just not in a bad way. I think in a way that like I'm aware that I'm changing a lot, and maybe situations I used to put myself in or people I'd hang around, I'm not just hanging around as much anymore or whatever it is. But I don't know. I think as you're growing up as a dude, especially, you need a chapter of your life where you're on a mission to see what's inside of you, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're on that mission, man. And it's like, now I want
you are too. You're building something that you believe in. Like you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's awesome,
bro. No, I appreciate it. And it's like, I'm so happy that we were able to even have this conversation, because I feel like we have very similar mindsets on how we approach life. And it's like, I only keep people around me that have this mindset. And I feel like that's the reason why I felt like I knew you at the beginning, because it's almost like the energy that you put out in the world and the way that you view things and like the positivity that you like spread to the people around you was almost like, I felt it without even really like needing to like have you like spew it at me. You know what I'm saying? Just the energy in the room. And like when I did talk to you and like our small amount of interactions, it was just like, oh, this dude gets it. And it's just like, I think that's so important. And I'm grateful to be like one of those people that can like realize that this shit is real. And it's just like positive energy, keeping people around you. And it's just like, I love it so much. So to like sit here and like really deep dive on like where your head has been at for the past few years and like where you see yourself going forward and how much positive change you've done in your life and how much you care about like influencing people for good. I think that's such like a beautiful thing that like we need more people that care about that, because there's too many people out here that are just living life by the seat of their pants, fucking running the shit, redlining all the time.
I get it too. It's hard,
like,
you know,
it's hard, but we need people like you to inspire those people to like realize that there's more. And I think that's like an important thing to like, it's not that anybody that's, you know, still on those paths that are maybe not so positive and, you know.
Yeah. And I'm not expecting everyone to be intense like me about that kind of stuff. And like, dude, I don't care what people do. Like I'm still, I have my own issues. I'm not perfect at all. Like I'm in no position to judge any other people on how they're living their life. I just feel compelled to tell my own truth.
Absolutely.
I feel compelled to tell my own truth on like how, you know, changing things about myself and looking inward has helped me.
Yeah.
And it's helped me heal too. And it's helped me, you know, have more of this greater understanding of our connection as human beings and the influence that we do have with the people around us, and how that starts changing your life. And like we said earlier, like more people start coming into your life that you're like, man, I never thought I'd, you know, have this new person step in that makes me think about life in such a different way or whatever it is.
Yeah, man. So, it's beautiful that you're at that point in your life. And it's like moving forward, it's like Kamp Recording Studios is like where your heart is at. And
right now, I
can feel it
100%.
And it's nice to be able to like feel like or I'm sure it's nice to be able to feel that like energy of like something new and exciting, and like you want to wake up every day and like,
oh dude, I'm
do
like
stuff.
I genuinely am so pumped every day that I wake up and I know I'm going to the studio. I get so excited because not only am I doing something that I love, I'm getting continuous reps over and over again, recording, producing, engineering. I'm getting faster, I'm getting better, I'm learning more, I'm meeting more people, I'm building more relationships. It literally is the dream job. Like I am meeting new people that I become extremely close with through doing what I love.
Yeah.
And also doing like dude, I don't care if some people get turned off by this statement, but I'm just going to say it. This is like my truth right now is I genuinely feel like I am in the place that God wants me to be at, and I'm using the skills that he gave me to help in any way the people that come and need help at camp. That is what it feels like to me. So like I'm riding with that. And for the record, I have no idea how long this will last. I have no idea if this is the career I do for the next 40 years, the next 5 years. I don't know. But like right now, I'm just, things are being thrown at me and it seems to be working and I'm running with that. And like, that's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so, I've seen people come and heal and cry from their music or come and smile and celebrate and laugh. And like, there's so many meaningful things that have taken place at camp, over the past few years where I'm like, damn, if I wasn't doing this, like this person would not have that experience, or I wouldn't have this experience where like me and this artist that barely know each other are crying because of this song. Like crazy stuff is happening where I'm like, yo, this has gotta be like, I don't know. I'm in the right spot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely know what you mean.
You have those moments where you're like, you're in the right spot. Cause when you're in the moments when you know you're not in the right spot, I feel like I'm very aware of that. Like when I'm in a position where I'm like, I should not be here, I know what that feeling feels like. Yeah, and then equally, I know what the feeling feels like when like,
Yeah. And I'm sure like everybody has that feeling, but some people don't have the strength to like take themselves out of that position.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and sometimes you're not in a position to pull yourself out of that where like, I shouldn't be here right now. But it's like, if you have the ability to pull yourself out of like a situation where you don't want to be in, like put yourself in places that you want to be in, that inspire you, that, try to put yourself around people that you look up to, that, that give you life. And I think that's like the biggest thing. It's like with starting camp and it's like, well, running camp, you started it a while ago, but like to run that camp, I feel like that's exactly what it is.
Another thing that I want to draw like a parallel to, and like, sorry for people that don't want to hear stuff about like the Bible or Jesus, but like I just read the gospel. I've like almost at the end of the gospels and I'm reading the gospels for the first time in my life. And I think one of the big reasons why so many people were heavily moved and impacted by Katastro finishing this final album for Andy is that essentially what we did is we turned something insanely devastating and heartbreaking into something beautiful. Yeah. Like the album getting finished after Andy died in the car accident was this beautiful, flower that emerged after Andy died. And the entire story of, Jesus in the Gospels and what he's doing is, by the way, I want to be very clear. I'm not relating us to Jesus at all. I'm just saying that there is this like concept of like interacting with suffering and interacting with something that is awful and being able to see the beauty in it. I think there's something so transformative and life-changing in that, man.
Yeah.
I think, and I don't want to go too far deep into that stuff, but I think whenever you're suffering or you're in a really, really bad spot, there is always a chance for you to transform.
Yeah.
And that's what I think reading the Gospels has kind of taught me. So
there's like beauties in the struggles, and that's such a classic like term, but like there's beauty in the struggle, and it's like,
and there's no, and there, like you said earlier, there's no real happiness and joy without suffering. So like in this human experience, like we have to suffer in order to experience
the
light and the joy and like what is beautiful in life. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Damn, dude.
I don't know. But to be very clear again, I was not trying to draw a parallel between between Katastro and Jesus Christ.
For any of you,
I'm just saying, like, that would be very clear about that.
Yeah, no,
I'm just saying that there's like in this,
there's teachings from all these stories.
That's what I'm saying. And there's teachings that like as I've been healing and going through all this stuff with losing Andy, reading the Gospels and a lot of that stuff has really helped me interact with my entire situation in a much more positive way.
Yeah.
And provided me with, like, I guess, a framework that allows me to continue on using the pain and the suffering that I have experienced and realizing that it's all not for nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say, is like, the suffering is not meaningless.
Yeah.
It's insanely meaningful to go through suffering, because then you're equipped with, if you can make it through the other side, you're equipped with things that can help other people.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want Kamp to be too, because a lot of artists come to me, dude, that are in pain, you know? And I want to be very clear too. I'm not trying to say that like I'm a healer or something like that, or that I have some special power. Like, that's not at all what I'm saying. I just feel like I have this new awareness of like what kind of person I'm supposed to become so I can be more useful.
Absolutely.
Like, I want to be more useful to the people around me and use my suffering. That's what I'm really trying to say. Like, when you read I don't know if you've ever read the Bible or if you've ever read the Gospels, but you see this continuous story of like the suffering helping other people, you know? And I don't know, man. I'm not even well read enough on it to start going there really fully, but I just know that it's like, it's tremendously helped me so much in my life that I guess I would recommend some like other people to maybe try reading it if you never have.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
And I'm not here to like preach or anything like that, but I guess a little bit if I'm saying this, but because I've never talked about this stuff publicly, man. Like, and you know, in my music world, you know, even like very close friends that I have like are not believers, and that's fine. I guess, like I said earlier, I want to be truthful and tell people what has genuinely helped me. And, that has helped me tremendously, probably bigger, more than anything else.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
It's beautiful, man.
I'm not running a church. I'm not trying to get you to, I'm not like trying to get you to join anything. I'm just telling you, bro, like, dude, if people ask like, yo, what's the switch? Like, how did that change? It's like, it's God, bro. That's for me. That's literally what it is. It's not me. Yeah. It's like, that's going to sound insane to like my homies that are not into that. And they're going to be like, yo, Andy died and Stravs lost it. He like believes in Jesus now and like whatever.
Dude, but it's like,
dude, I'm just telling you, like,
it's real though.
It's very real, bro.
And you felt it
real.
You felt it in that
so
moment.
Real.
It at Marquee Theater. The night that they did that
I felt God in that room. Yeah.
You felt God in that room, and that right there was anybody that was in that room experienced that. That's
and
real.
Yeah, that's very real. And I'm just now getting to the point now too where like, and dude, I feel like I'm so early on this like this journey of like my own spirituality and like what I believe, but like I don't know, man. It's like, it's so real to me that like, I don't even care about what the world has to say. Or like, if someone was to come at me right now and try to get me to defend my beliefs or whatever that stuff, I don't even know if I'd be able to like interact with that in a way that like I have enough well-read, you know, stuff that I can throw at you. But all I can tell you is like the stuff I've experienced and the way that I feel, it has absolutely, I guess, it just has changed me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's changed me in a way that I can't even explain it. And like, I don't know, man, maybe I'll get a little bit more well-read and
but I think
maybe give someone, you've throw some more tips out in the future, but, and I didn't even know we were going to talk about this, but
no, I mean,
I just think it's worth bringing up. I think it has to go with, it ties in all the other stuff in my life that I've been, trying to clean up. And
yeah, man,
I guess it's all just, man, I feel like there's nothing wrong with sharing what has been working for you. And
absolutely. That was part of your
I'm not trying
journey.
To tell anyone what to believe or
not at all
or anything like that. It's just, man, it's made my life so much better and given me so much peace.
Yes.
I guess. Yeah,
absolutely. Especially in the chaos of life that you were living prior to Andy's passing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was a beautiful chaos, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
chaos. You know what I'm saying? Where there's a lot going on.
It was a lot of me trying to control my own life.
There you go.
Instead of just like allowing to see where life takes me and see what unfolds in front of me and see, you know, what I'm being asked to do.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure. And
that's always, that's going to continue to be hard. I'm not
Mhm.
saying that like I figured everything out. I'm really not saying that. Like I still have days where I'm very confused about life, or I feel, you know, there's moments where you feel lost, and but that's one thing that has helped me, man. And yeah, man.
Yeah, the values are in place, man. The pieces are in place, as they say. And it's just like, now it's just moving forward. And it's just building, growing, building the network bigger, meeting more people, inspiring other people to continue to be the best versions of themselves. And to witness that is beautiful. So
Thanks, bro.
yeah, man, I'm so excited that you know, we were able to sit down here. Thank you so much for even like spending this time, man. This is, and bringing me to the urgent care, man. You're such a real one, bro.
Yeah,
for real.
dude. Yeah.
It's like,
no, and dude, shouts to you. Like, you know, you shattered this glass, split your hand open this morning, and then I immediately after you get the stitches, you hop into my car and you're like, we gotta still do the podcast. And I'm just like, this dude, that's a great example of like just going with what life throws at you and just running with it. And it's hard to do, man. I still struggle with that sometimes. And so you doing that today was just very cool and kind of in line with our conversation that we had. And I'm pumped on your podcast. I think this is sick. And
thank you, bro.
I think you need to keep doing it.
I will, man. No,
you're good at it too. You're good at asking questions. You're good at, yeah, it's just awesome.
Thank you, man. It feels like conversation. I forgot these cameras were here halfway through. So it's like, that's how it happens, dude. I love it,
Me
man.
too. I enjoyed this so much.
Yes.
Thank you, bro.
My fellow Martians, please go follow Stravs. It's at Stravs on Instagram. It's also at Katastro on Instagram and at Kamp Recording Studios, right?
Yep.
Perfect. So make sure you go follow all those accounts, see what Stravs got going on in the future. You know, maybe you get a Katastro record in the future. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. But go listen to the album too. Go listen to Andy's vocals on that record. It's so beautiful. I mean, from the very first song, our favorite song, as soon as that song comes in, you get the goosebumps. You listen to it and you're like, this guy is no longer here with us, and it's sad. You hear that and you're like, how could this like have been taken away from the world? You know, like this beautiful artist. And then at the end of the record, you guys had the song Muse. And I feel like those two songs for me were like, those are the ones that like made like the hair stand up, the emotions start running, you know, like the tears started welling up when I heard him for the first time on that last song on Muse. And it's just like, I'm so glad that you guys did that, because that was such a beautiful moment, not for just you guys, not only just for Andy's family, Andy's loved one, but for Katastro fans everywhere in the world. They needed that album. So it's like, if you've never even heard of Katastro, if you've never even listened to him, go listen to Katastro, because it's just great music. And I'm so happy that, you know, I was even able to meet you. You know what I mean? I wish I would have met Andy, you know what I mean? Because I feel like we would have been
You guys would have been homies.
but yeah, man, no, it's like I'm just thankful to have, you know, come into your circle and to come into your world and to be influenced by you and be inspired by you, and to have just met you and feel like I'm inspired to take control of my life even further. You know,
yeah,
and
me too. No, meeting you makes me
beautiful.
feel the same way too. You know, like I'm always trying to meet new people that are interested in going up.
Yeah, man.
Like,
we
we're
go
going
together.
up. We're going this way.
That's right. And if you don't want to get
if
up,
you're not going, dude, get off, dude, because I'm going up.
Yeah, dude. So
yeah, and you know what? You know what's cool, man, is like, I will say, you know, like I want to be careful to ride that line of like, I don't want to be preachy and pretend like I have my whole life figured out and that like I know everything. Because like I said before, I'm very flawed and I have stuff I'm still dealing with, or things I'm working through. And I think we all do and always will. But the more I talk about this kind of stuff publicly, I think the more it holds me accountable to be that person that I want to become, that person, that vision of who I could be, the man I could become in the future. It holds me more accountable to continuously repeat those actions and those, you know, do those things that I know I need to do every day to accomplish that. Because it's on paper, right? It's like, I've talked about it, and now it's like, all right, you can talk about it, but you got to be it. And it's hard, dude. I think one of my older friends who's been like a mentor for me, he told me there's a very big difference between what we say we want to be and what we do to like achieve that. Like they're like saying things is what we say. It doesn't matter. It's how we behave. And that is a really powerful thing to think about because, you know, I think I've struggled with that before. I say, you know, you can tell like you can tell somebody that you love them, but how are you treating them?
Right. Are you showing them that you love them? Yeah. Yeah. That's a big difference.
You know?
Yeah.
So
don't talk about it, be about it.
And I've made that mistake in the past. And so yeah, man.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody listening to this would think that you're coming off as preachy. You're telling your story.
I just want to be aware. I just want to be aware of that. And I was not. I was not.
Just for the record,
I was not comparing Jesus Christ to Katastro. I'm very clear about that.
Quadrupling down on this.
The reason I brought that up is because, you know, obviously the story of Jesus is the immense suffering he endured was because of how much he loved us.
Yes. Yeah, man. I do feel like that was just your journey, and you were just sharing that.
I was just sharing. Yes. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, man.
Sweet. Just want to be very, very clear. This is not. I don't want to get messages being like, bro, Katastro ain't Jesus. You know that, right? Bro, trust me, we are not.
You ain't God, dog.
Nothing close. But yeah, dude, all the support we've had since the record came out, and you know, it taught me. I guess what I was really trying to say there too is that it taught me the power of using suffering for good.
Yes.
Using suffering for good. And that is that whole story. You know, that's why I brought that up. But yeah, man, it's just been a wild ride, dude. Life is insane. My life has been crazy so far.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like I really have lived an insane life so far. So now it's like, let's make it crazier. Let's go.
Yeah, dude. This episode was just a snapshot into who you are and what you've experienced.
Yeah, and I hope someday I look back on this episode and be like, oh, that was the beginning of something crazy. Because how my life feels right now in this moment is like, damn, I'm about to go on this wild ride. Things are changing, and you know, I just feel this whole new wave of my life is starting, and thank you for letting me talk about it.
Of course, man. Yeah, we'll have to come back and do this again when we're at different points in our lives.
I would love to. This was great though, and I wish you the best with the podcast, man.
Thank you, bro.
I think you do a great job with interviewing people, and you have awesome people on, and it's gonna be sick.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. So again, my fellow Martians, go follow Katastro, go follow Stravs, go follow Kamp Recording Studios. Stream the album Until the End of Time right now. And also go follow at On Mars Pod and Harry Mars _, and we'll see you next time on Mars. Love you.
Peace, y'all.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this episode of the On Mars Pod, and for sticking around to the end, man. I really appreciate you guys. You are the real Martians. Like this video, comment below what your favorite part was, what was most inspiring to you. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications here on future interviews coming out soon, and also follow us on Instagram at On Mars Pod. Love you guys so much. We'll see you next time on Mars.
I'm more impressed that you just got stitches and we're doing a podcast right now. Are we live? Can we talk about what's going on?
Yeah, we're live. I'll do an intro, but this is all live.
Yeah, tell me when, because that's got to be the start. That's got to be the first thing we talk about.
Cool. Yeah. All right.